think I should be here. I hope. So, how do I know if anyone can see me? Everyone can see. So, can you? I'd like to see the chat box to know who is there. Oh, someone is here. I can't even see. Sorry, let me get my glasses. So I'm trying to look at the chat box from another device. I hope you don't mind. Hello, Victor. Hello, Borderless Educator. Borderless Educator Tribe. I see you. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being on time. So I'm just going to give a couple. But if you can hear me, say something in the comments below and let me know where you're watching from. I'm really excited this evening. Okay, so all the way from Ilorin. Thank you, Victor. Thank you for joining. I assure you this will be a great hour and a half spent well. Borderless Educator, where are you watching from? Let me even Andoka Dura. Welcome, welcome. I see you. I see you. Where are you watching from, Ando? From Abuja, Borderless Educator. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So where are you watching from? Someone says I'm watching from Abuja. Someone says from Ilorin. Someone says from Abuja as well. Great, great, great. I'm glad to see you guys here. So we're going to have a great time this evening. And I trust that this will be time well spent both for you and I. So I do not want to waste so much time because those of you who have come in early deserve to be treated with respect. So just give me a few more minutes. Let's just have maybe 5-6 people in the room and then we'll be good to go. So how have you guys been? How was the Yuletide? I see more comments. So very soon I'm looking away from the comments, the chats, so that I can focus on Is this better? So that I can focus on the class we have. I have a lot to share today. And I'm going to try and make good use of the time. So that we don't everyone can hear or see me. All right, so anybody want to tell me how their week has been? Just say something in the chat. So I'm going to let me even say hello. Let me show your comments. So Victor says he's from Ilorin. Welcome, Victorious Victor. Everyone say hi, Victor. Hi. Oh, Mary Beth made it. The parenting coach made it today. Great, great. Mary Beth from Abuja. Let me say hello to you so that we can see you. So let me show Mary Beth's comments. Okay. So the network is acting up with this device. Okay, so fine. You can see. Say hi. Borderless educator. I'm trying to say hello to everyone who has taken the time to come in early. Okay, so this is where the issues. Your person is. No, it's been going off and on. So just permit me to comments. Hello, Yasko, joining from Yobe. I'm just loving the energy here today. Loving the energy. Hello, Yasko. Welcome, welcome all the way from Yobe. Yobe. So Ando says, I was going to put Ando's comment on the screen, but please permit me to. It's Kosi. Oh, Kosi. Imagine. And you are the first to join. Thank you so much. Please, maybe you can be putting some comments on the screen. So can you hear me? If you can hear me right now, just say something and so that I can comment. I think we have enough people to start with, and others will join us when they can. When they can. So today we're going to be talking about strategies for success strategies for 2024. Normally, I'd call this some sort of goal setting class, just call it something around goal setting. And this is still something around that, but I just want to approach it with a slightly different perspective this time around. Please, if you can hear me, say something in the comments and let me be sure that you can still. Hello! Hey, God, my people, oh, my educators are filling up the whole place. Hello, Gupa. It's been ages. I see your great work on YouTube. Keep up the great work. Keep up the great work. So just allow me manage the chat. Great. So that means you can still see and hear me, right? You can still see and hear me. Okay, great. So Kosi, thank you for joining. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Without further ado, I just want us to get started. U-Time has been awesome. That's Dura. Ondukura Dura. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being here. So, like I was saying, without further ado, let's just get started. You're welcome to the webinar titled Success Strategies for 2024. Just before the comments were coming on, I was just sharing with the audience that normally I would be sharing a topic on goal setting, but this is still around goals, but just a slightly different perspective. So I've decided to handle it from let me be honest with you. I think that many people know a lot about goals these days, and I've been privileged to teach, like, I kid you not, over 1,000 people on goals across 5 years. I started my journey 8th December 2018, and then fast forward to 2023. I've been doing this for a long time. So I noticed that there are certain areas of people's plans and resolutions for the year that usually are faulty right from the beginning. Right from the beginning. So I thought to address those issues along with a couple of other issues that I've experienced in the course of the year. But I'm sure that you're going to have a great time. So I'm going to be coming along with about 10 different aspects that can help you be successful in 2024. Maybe not everything, you might not find everything relatable on the same level, but I'm sure that I hope that you find one or two very directly relatable, and that you can find yourself in that picture and make some changes So today we're going to be talking about success secrets for 2024. 2024 has a lot riding on it. First of all, it's the newest year ever, and we're coming out of a really difficult year across the world. There has been a lot going on. Two wars are currently going on. The hardship across different countries have increased. The cost of living has become a bit more difficult. But in spite of that, people are pressing on to make their lives even better. So before I continue, I'd like to introduce myself and why I'm talking to you about this. My name is Ochido Ayi. I like to call myself the goal setting queen. I'm a personal branding strategist and author. I'm an architect and I run businesses as well. So I have been at this goals, trying to set goals for a while. And I like to think that I've made a success of some of the goals I've set. Not everything, but some. And I know enough to share about what I know with people that I think has been great. Great. Thank you. Thank you. That I think has been fundamental in helping me evolve to the lady I am now today. And I think you can benefit from it. So, in no particular order, because I don't want to take it as though number one is more important than number 10, but in no particular order, I'm going to be sharing 10 different things that you can do to help make 2024 more successful, or at least definitely better than 2023. So I'm going to be approaching them. Please permit me to be looking at my notes from time to time. I'm going to be approaching them very weird subtopics. Very weird subtopics. So just flow with me. I'm going to be starting. So the first thing that I'm going to be saying is, number one, if you want to be successful in 2024, you need to give to Caesar what is Caesar's. You need to give to Caesar what is Caesar's. So what do I mean by that? The term give to Caesar's what is Caesar's is a story from the Bible about paying taxes to the authorities that exist in the country. This story stemmed from the fact that the disciples of Jesus didn't want, I think they were questioning whether or not they still needed to honor the authorities that were in their country. And so Jesus was like, look, you give to God what is God, and to Caesar what is Caesar's. So I thought to bring this home and be a great place to start. Give to Caesar what is Caesar's. Please can you put in the titles in the comments so that I can share it on the screen? Yeah, thank you. So give to Caesar what is Caesar. So what do I mean by Caesar? Caesars are basically those obligations, those expectations of you that make you a contributing member of your society. Now, the issue about giving to Caesar what is Caesar's, why it's a big deal, is because many times people fail to give to Caesar what is Caesar's and to God what is God's. So what do I mean by give to Caesar's what is Caesar's? Your Caesar can be anything that is a legitimate concern, a legitimate need, a legitimate problem, a legitimate obligation that you owe the time, the effort, or the resources, but you fail to do so because you are either engrossed by another perceived legitimate desire or an even illegitimate one. For instance, if I ask a young person to study, and you're in school, so let's say there's fellowship here, or there's a religious activity, and then there's studying in school. I remember way back when I was in school, there used to be this gentleman who used to be in fellowship all the time. I knew he had a heart for God and he was consumed by all things scripture. So he'd stay in during prep hours, he'd be studying the Bible. During class hours, he'd be studying the Bible. Whenever it was time for us to do other activities, you'll find him praying, you'll find him studying the Bible, but you will never find him studying why he was in school. You never find him investing time in the reason why he was in school. So before you know it, Caesar took what was his, which is Caesar. You didn't give to Caesar what was Caesar's, and Caesar gave him the consequences for that failure. And that gentleman didn't do very well in school. I dare say I don't know what became of him after everything that we went through, because he had been in school for 6 years. At the end of the school term, at the end of the final year, I believe that there was a rumor that he passed no single subject. So it made me, and then of course it made a lot of people question, but he was serving God and was doing whatever. And I was like, I asked my dad, what he thought about this then. And dad was like, you can't go to school when it's school hours, you ought to be studying. You are doing something else, no matter how righteous or how right that thing is. So I'm bringing it home today for those of us who want to make 2024 a meaningful and successful year. What are the things that you know you should do, but somehow you hate to do and you struggle to do them? Okay, what are those things that you you fail to do, you just find it difficult to do, but it's an obligation, something you must do. For instance, if you're running a business, there must be certain things that you do in your business that guarantees that your business stays afloat. That's your Caesar. That's your Caesar. If you go to work, you ought to be at work within a certain time. You ought to be delivering on what work is at a certain time. That is your Caesar. So if you fail to do what is right at the right time and then you hope to do it later, you are taking what belongs to Caesar, and Caesar is going to come for it. Caesar is not a very nice taskmaster. The consequences of not honoring Caesar are very high. In the olden days, when you didn't give to Caesar what was Caesar's, it was considered you were evading tax. And even today, if you evade your taxes, you will be arrested. So what is that thing that comes with everyday living? What are the obligations that you need to carry out? What are the habits that you need to establish so that you can make 2024 a better year? You cannot fail to do those things. I'm saying this now because I want to come here. I want to be as relatable as possible. So I don't want to say it as though I have gotten everything right. So I know the areas where I slacked, where I failed to pay Caesar. I know when I was to exercise, I know what I struggled with. I know when I was dodging the daily exercises. I knew when I was dodging drinking water. I knew when I was failing to do just basic things that I knew were beneficial and would add to my points in terms of the success of the year. So that is Caesar. If you're here today, I'd like you to say something in the comments to give me an idea whether you understand what your Caesar is. If you'd like to share something in the comments that tells me you have a Caesar, perhaps you want to share a big Caesar with us and let us know what that Caesar is. But let me make you know something. In 2024, if you fail to give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, Caesar will visit you with the taxes. Caesar will come at you with the consequences. You cannot fail to do what is expected of you this year. We're not going to hide under the cloak of, oh, I'm praying, oh, favor will find me, oh, I am lucky, or even just like drifting and saying, well, whatever, what will be, will be. This year, we're going to intentionally, in 2024, cut Caesar's attention. We're going to give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar and to God what belongs to God. Am I making sense here? Am I making sense here? If I'm making sense, please say something in the comments and let me see your chats. If you're just joining us, thank you for joining us today. My name is Ochido Ayi, and this is the Success Strategies for 2024. I will be taking you through a series of topics that I think will help you reposition your mindset and your goals for 2024. Somewhere down the line, I'm still going to talk about goals and how most effectively you can set those goals. But please today, just hang in there and take away what you must, because it's beyond just the technicalities of success. There are so many innuendos, so many underlays, so many dimensions when it comes to succeeding in any given day that you must be in charge of. So someone says, Abigail says, not being consistent with doing my trainings and being visible with my brand. See, perfect example. If you have a personal brand that you're building, I believe that this the guest here, Abigail here, is a TV host. She's one of the faces you see on CBN Africa, and she has a very powerful brand. She's great at speaking. She holds the screen. She's really on top of her game. If she fails to give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, if she fails to be consistent, if she fails to show up when she needs to show up, Caesar will come for her. The consequences of Caesars are not pleasant. So thank you, Abigail, for sharing that. You must give to Caesar what is Caesar's and to God what is God. Kosi says, leaving grad students work and updates of the learning management platform till the So from what your comment is, I gather that you are a grad student and you have a lot to do, but and you also have a management. Yes, I know that Kosi runs an educational platform. She runs a tribe full of those who have schools and those who are consultants in the educational platform. And so she says she leaves it to the last minute. Yes, you are stealing from Caesar. You're stealing from Caesar. You are stealing from Caesar. There's not a single person who has made it in this world who did not separate Caesar from God, who did not give to Caesar what belongs. They didn't give to God what belongs to Caesar. God won't even take it. They gave to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. So thank you for sharing that. That's fantastic. So we're going to be talking about the next topic. So if you have a Caesar you need to deal with, please write it down, and maybe in the course of the show you can share it as a contribution. Okay. So number two, You want to develop a solver's mentality. I have discovered in the time that I have been coaching and working with people more closely, especially when I began to focus on my personal development, one of the things I discovered was many people didn't have a solver's mindset. Everybody just, I'll give you a perfect example. You are in a place of work. Something is going wrong at that place of work. And you have the power. You somehow know what to do. You can change the situation. You can maybe suggest a solution that can fix the problem, but you don't, because somehow you don't know anybody else who does that. You tell yourself, oh, it's not my thing. I don't really want to come out as though I'm doing a proco. If you are here and you're not, if you're not familiar with Nigerian lingua, apropos just means the person who basically is seen as a goody two shoes. So you know you can offer this solution that can solve that problem, but you hold back on it. In fact, you have trained yourself not to have an opinion and not to offer to help in any situation. You are struggling. You are killing your mindset. Every mindset, when it was developed by God, was the first strategy is basic. Okay, so I'll come to your comment, Victor. Let me just land with my point right now. So I said that you need to have a solver's mentality. And you see, for those who want to make any impact at all, any progress in what they're doing, they must be thinking like people who solve a problem. I don't know anyone who became successful in life who wasn't solving a problem. Big business people solve problems. People in offices solve problems. Employees solve problems. CEOs solve problems. If you don't think of yourself as a problem solver, you will be denying yourself a lot of the goodies that 2024 will have for you. So I normally would title this find a problem you can solve and solve the problem, and the audience, the crowd will reward you for it. So if you want to become wealthy in 2024, if you want to make more money in 2024, if you want to have more impact in 2024, you need to be thinking like someone who solves problems. You're not just going to come out there and say, I have every single thing you see in this world today: the phone, the jewelry, the laptop, paper, biro, pen, the ring lights. All of these things are solving a problem. Every single thing solves a problem. So if you do not realize that the power for you to generate income, grow your revenue, become an important person lies in the way you solve problems, then you are going to be left behind after all is said and done. So I put here, let me look at my notes a bit. I put here that your money lies in the gaps that your problems can solve. So your duty is to identify the gaps where your money exists. Identify the areas where your money is. And let me tell you the truth about this. All over the world, people will pay you for what they don't want to solve. People will pay you to fix what they don't want to fix, or they don't know how to fix. I mean, who would have thought that water falls from the sky, rain falls down? Everybody has some sort of access to water under normal temperature and pressure, right? Under normal circumstances, everyone has access to water. Yet there was a problem of water, and somebody decided to bottle it, and bottled water became a thing. There's always something that your problem can. So if this year you are looking to make more money, more income, you want to make more impact, you want to grow your revenue, you want to be seen as somebody more influential, you need to be looking for the problems you can solve. You need to be looking for the problems you can solve. So take time to research around you. What are the problems that I have seen around me that I can fix? Especially if one of your goals this year is, I want to make more money, I have a 9-to-5 job, but I'm looking for a side hustle. I don't like calling that thing hustle, but for the purposes of this class, let's refer to it as hustles. So you want to be able to solve your problems. You want to be able to do your work so that you can break through, so that you can make a difference, so that this year, at this time next year, you'll be able to say, oh, I increased my revenue by XYZ. Okay? So I don't know about you, but making money is always on the list for many people. Making more money, more revenue is always on the list for many people. And the trick around making more money is being able to solve more problems for people. Being able to solve more problems for people. So the problems may be at your place of work. The problems may be within your family. The problems may be within your community. The problems may be that of a middle class. The problems may be that of upper class. And it may even be a problem that the lower class also struggle with. Listen, if you want the money is to come to you, think like a solver. Develop a solver's mentality. Help yourself start thinking of people, thinking of the problems you can solve for people. There are some people, they are always bubbling with ideas. Anywhere they go, they keep thinking, oh, I just noticed that they don't have this. You know, if somebody was doing XYZ, the person would make a lot of money. Find a friend like that. If you are having like a solver's block, find a friend like that, someone that is always brewing with ideas, and attach yourself to that person, make that person your friend, so that you begin to think like a solver. That is because if you're around somebody that is funny, you become funny. If you're around someone that is smart, you become smart. If you're around somebody that thinks and solve problems, you become someone that thinks like a problem solver. So you want to solve problems this year. You want to make sure you solve problems. Okay. Is there anyone who has solved a problem this year that wants to leave something in the comments below so that I can help drive this point home? If you do have a problem you think you have solved this year, let me know. So let me give you an example. While the person is putting their comments below, let me give you an example. I personally decided that the issue of domestic help was a real problem in Nigeria. I met a lot of people who have shown a lot of so I have a successful domestic help. I've had a successful domestic help relationship with my domestic help. We've successfully been able to work for over 10 years. And I learned this from my mom. When I was growing up, we didn't have this nannies changing over and over again. So there are some strategies I put in place to enable me have a successful support system. So a lot of people began to question that. And for a long time, I didn't want to solve that problem. Then one day, I took up the challenge and began to solve the problem. And I had people beating down my door asking for help. How do I help this person? How do I help this person figure out what I need? How do I make the right match? How do I find someone who works for me? That became a problem, you know. And I would have thought that this was a problem that only concerned women until a man met me and told me he was willing to, if I thought about how the problem could be solved across Nigeria, it was something he was willing to invest in. So the problems that you solve determine the kind of monies that come to you, and you want to pay attention and develop a solver's mindset. Okay. So what you must do, the mindset to have here is do what you must. Do what you must. There are problems out there. Don't shrink from them. Do what you must. Learn how to sell, how to market. You know, find a way to develop capacity around the problems that can be solved. If you see a problem you don't have capacity for, fix it. Fix it. Try to learn something around that and fix it. So develop a problem, develop a solver's mindset. If you have if there's any comment, anyone who has said anything in the comment section that I want to share with the audience, let me know if you have a problem you've solved. If you have a problem you've solved. Okay, so while we're waiting for the comment to pop up on the screen, I'm just going to go on to the next topic. I'm going to go on to the next topic. Number 3. Where did I write these topics down now? Number 3. I love this topic. Please, I love this topic, and I really want you guys to tell me what you think about it when I'm done. So how many of you have heard of black tax? If you've heard of black tax, please leave it in the comments below. Tell me what you think of black tax, and let's ride on from there. So this issue of black tax is sensitive. It is, and I don't think there's anyone in Africa that has successfully escaped black tax. So black tax is, okay, so let me wait for someone to put it in the comments below. Let me see. Black tax. So Victor, okay, I was going to go to Victor's comments. Okay, so black tax. Has anybody said anything concerning black tax? I want to see that comment. I want to put it on the screen. Please let me know. Please, can you share any tips on solving the domestic health issue? Okay, so that would be, I guess that should be a lesson for another day, because there's so much I can talk about around domestic health issues. Please, can you put the comment on the screen? So someone said, Kosi says, can you share any tips on solving domestic help issue? So please permit me to decline for this particular class. There's a lot I can share about domestic help issues. So please, we'll talk about it, and possibly maybe I'll do something on domestic help, because it's very important if you're building a brand to understand how your support system works. So I'll answer that question off camera. Okay, so Victor says, one of the problems I solved this year was to help teachers get in extra income aside the 9 to 5. And I've also coached them on how to leverage technology in execution. So Victor, how successful was that for you? Were you able to meet your income goals with this problem that you solved? Please tell us in the comments below. So while that is going on, let me start talking about black tax. So the issue of black tax is very sensitive to me. If any of you has followed me on social media for any length of time, at least in the last 5 months, you would have noticed that I experienced a life-changing tragedy. I lost my dad, and that whole process exposed me to a new level of family relations that I had never experienced before. So all this while, Daddy does the due diligence, interacts with the other people that you may not necessarily interact with regularly. And so this time around, when Daddy passed, I had to begin to interact with them directly. So I got to meet many uncles and aunties, and just basically many other relatives, distant relatives that I had never met before, or some that I had met but never really interacted with before. So I began to appreciate the real issue around black tax. I began to appreciate how very daunting the issue is. So has anyone been able to give me what they think of black tax yet? Do you know what black tax is now? Has anybody shared? So the title of this third strategy is to extract yourself from black tax. This third strategy is to extract yourself from black tax. So anybody care to share what black tax is? Okay, so I'm assuming no one here directly understands what I mean. So black tax is basically that expectation that somebody who is successful within a family becomes the breadwinner, regardless of whether they are the oldest. Once the person is either the most successful member of the family or is an upwardly mobile person, a lot of the obligations within the family are shielded, pushed to that person, and that person begins to bear it. So for example, a son graduates from university. He's the oldest of 7 children. And automatically, the moment he graduates, he's expected to begin to train 3 of his younger ones in school. Mind you, this gentleman has not settled out in life yet. He hasn't made any money. He hasn't grown. He hasn't gotten a job in many cases. He hasn't really been anything, but he's expected to shoulder the responsibility of other members of the family. And if he even appears to have a glimpse of success, for instance, or a lot of responsibility shifted to that person. So I got to appreciate what my dad, and many other people across the African society go through when you see what they shoulder. So I realized that black tax is really an issue in Africa, and it's something that we need to address. If 2024 is going to make any difference from you and you are saddled with black tax, I want to share some strategies that would help you extract yourself from them sensibly without crushing your ability to grow. Because you see, a drowning man, if you're trying to help a drowning man and you go into the deep blue sea, it'll be hard to pull the drowning man out except you are really, really much stronger than him, or you even somewhat incapacitate him. Otherwise, his sheer weight and desire to live can drown both of you. Have you heard of that before? Somebody goes in to save somebody else who is drowning and then both of them drown? Yes. That's basically what black tax can be. Oh, it's like an entitlement. I don't know. It's beyond. Yes, it's partly. Black tax is fueled by an entitlement mentality. But the black tax generally just means that, you begin to shoulder responsibility that otherwise you should not be shouldering. You become the father of a home when you are 20. You become the father of a community when you are 40, because you appear to either be doing well or you are probably the most successful person in that community. So you want to extract yourself from black tax. And I know that for lack of another way to see it is the Messiah's complex. when you feel you need to solve everybody's problem. So sometimes it's not even, the black tax is not even put on you. You're the one that inherits. You are the one that goes and requests for it and wears it on your shoulder like a knapsack. Okay? So I know a lot of people dealing with black tax. And I dare say I can see the trajectory. Some of them are not going to make it simply because the burden is too much. They are caring for old parents, caring for parents' children. In some terrible cases, parents are still having children, and then you are expected to shoulder that. So by the time you are ready to start your own home, you are not even able to build your own home. If you decide, oh, I need to settle down and try to grow my family, you are going to receive a lot of resistance from people who have always been entitled to your wealth and your growth. So here are a couple of things that we need to know about black tax. You can't solve everybody's problem. Money can't even solve everything. Money can't even solve everything. I give you a story that I heard recently. A man was in the hospital when a young boy, about 10, was brought in. He was dying. And the mother was crying. Why? Because the hospital required him to deposit some money, had to deposit some money for the boy's treatment, and she didn't have any money. And the woman was saying, oh, because she doesn't have this amount of money, 10,000, the boy is going to die. People are so ill, so wicked. So there was a gentleman standing beside who heard the commotion. And he was like, oh, what's going on? And they were like, oh, this woman needs 10,000 naira to deposit so that her son can be attended to. He's very ill and he might die. So the man says, consider it done. Fix the issue, take the boy in, send me the bill, send me the account. I would have the money deposited immediately. And the woman said, oh, okay. So you want to give me 10,000? Okay, don't worry, just send me the money. The man was like, no, the hospital requires it now. Your son is already gasping for breath. I will just pay it in here right now. And then she said, no need. Give me the money. I know what to do with the money. Can you see that the woman's problem was not money? So even if you had given her money, she would have still found a way to avoid dropping it for that boy, depositing it so that the boy can live. I don't know the outcome of the story, how that turned out. But that's to tell you that money doesn't fix everything. And so if you are under the pressure that, oh, I have sufficient money and I will just help everyone that I can help, you won't be able to solve everybody's problem, you know. So we should manage the way we take on responsibilities that don't belong to us. We should manage the way we take care of responsibilities that don't belong to us. You see, when you give money on, I mean, even if it's solicited, unsolicited. Let me see the comments to see if anybody is making. Abigail, wow, yes. Okay. So if the danger is that while it is expected that you should help, I mean, expectedly we should give, we should help. That's part of life. What you give comes back to you. You should have a balanced perspective on how to give and what to give. So don't give in such a way that you promote irresponsibility and become a generously toxic person. Like, you know, when they say generous and toxic generosity, where your generosity doesn't help anybody. The moment you are not able to give, you would think that the people whom you were giving have learned something, have acquired some knowledge, have acquired the heart to also give, expect that if you don't have today or you're not able to meet the obligation, they will take it on and it will be a shared responsibility. Many times, if you feel black tax the way you feel it, you will not be able to do well. In 2024, if you are going to break through and become that person of impact, if you are going to break through and become that person of influence, if you want to make more money at the end of the year, you need to ration the way you handle black tax. You need to ration the way you handle black tax. You see, the whole thing is, I have a lot to say about black tax, but I want to try and be kind in the way I talk about it, because I do understand why sometimes black tax becomes a serious need. I do understand why people require your help when you are succeeding. And if you are 7/20, but everybody else is at 2/20, I can understand why they need you to shake body at 7/20. I mean, we know that you are not 20/20, but please, you have to help us. So it's the thing about black tax that if you don't define your boundaries, you are going to be overwhelmed with the need, and you will not grow. You will look back at your life 20 years later and you won't be able to account for anything reasonable you've done with your life. As you enter into 2022 and 2024, please manage your black tax. If you have any black tax obligations you'd like to share in the comments below, I'll be happy to take them. Abigail says lesson for the year. Yes. So let me say a few things that you can do around black tax that can help you. So one of the things I want you to do is don't always give as though you have the impression that you have more than enough. One of the things that fuels entitlement mentality, is when people think you are giving because you have more than enough. If people are aware that you are also giving because you have a heart to give, not necessarily because you own a bank. And even if you own a bank, all the money in the bank doesn't belong to you, right? Yeah. And even if you own $1 billion, $10 billion, $1 trillion, there are probably still things you need to do with your money. So all the money is not available to be given away, right? But if you give as though, oh, I have the money, that's why I give, you may want to check that. Make it clear to people who you're going to be helping that you are giving because you have a heart to give, not because you have more than enough, because that fuels toxic mentality, and you want to manage that. You see, abundance of things triggers wastage. That's why we waste water in some parts of the world. That's why we waste food in some parts of the world. Abundance just basically triggers wastage, and you want to be able to curtail that wastage. You want to be able to manage it, okay? Another thing that you can do to help yourself is to create like an apprenticeship program around the people you want to help, around the people that you're obligated to help with the black tax. You want to be able to create something that enables them to earn sometimes the money that you are giving them. I personally, I believe that you should help people, but I always think that I'll be better help if I teach you how to fish than just constantly give you fish. So I want to give fish, and I want to teach you how to fish. And so if I want to teach you how to fish, you have to show some sort of willingness to learn how to fish. You want to show some sort of willingness you want basically to start thinking like someone who is planning to solve problems in the future, even if you are not capable of solving problems now. So black tax, please try to manage how you handle black tax. If you have any comments about any black tax issue you've handled, please say so in the comments below so that others can learn from you. And if you did, what did you do to manage the situation? Okay, so you can't buy love, people of God. You can't buy the love of people. There are people who genuinely need the support that you give them. There are also people who will take, because you are available to be taken, they will abuse it. And if you cannot give anymore, they will walk all over you and go to the next person, not caring whether or not you gave yourself to death, for lack of a better word. So this 2024, please manage and extract yourself from black tax. Don't throw everything away because you want to be seen. You see, many times when we even do this black tax, it's our egos that are being fed, sometimes. And of course, someone said when you mentioned black tax, I knew what it meant. Yesterday, I took a firm decision to handle it. It is suffocating, right? I want to high five any firstborn. It's a common thing. But have you noticed that those who succeed insist that they will succeed? Let me give a perfect example. I've always grown up in an educated family. My family is 4 generations educated. That's my grandfathers, my parents, my great grandparents. They began to relate with the white men when they came. So by the time my grandparents were among the first sort of people that went to school and went to university, they went abroad. I came from that line, right? So I remember that my grandpa had, he had a lot, at his death, there was a lot of accolades that came to him from the university and a lot of things. So I was asking him if that was where he wanted to stop. When he was alive, though, he's gone now. That's my grandpa. And he was like, no, there was so much more that was open to him because not many Africans were showing that kind of promise. So he was one of the few, like he was the first person to leave the village to go to school. He was the first person to go abroad and all of this. So he had a lot of potential, but he mentioned that he had so many responsibilities at home that he couldn't take on all the opportunities that life provided. And so he pegged his growth at a certain level. It was later when he was much older that he saw other people handle the black tax issue differently, that he began to think, maybe I should have gone all the way to the top as far as I could go. It'd be easier for me to lift more people than I did. Because what happened to him was he lifted, like, let's say his level, the level he attained in life enabled him to lift like 30 people successfully to a certain level, and all of that stuff. But he noticed that some people who went all the way completely revolutionized their communities. He met people from other communities, other states, other parts of Africa, who just seemed to do a lot more because they were just higher up the ladder than he was. So that began to teach me something, that you have to manage how you manage your taxes, the tax that is levied on you from society. You have to manage it wisely. I think I've oversaid a lot here. I want to thank you for your comments. That shows that we're on the same page. If you're one of the people who imposes black tax on people, you may want to reconsider. That you want to add value to people as well, and not just be demanding from them, okay? Because you don't know what people are going through. You don't know how they're struggling to be able to meet those obligations. And so you want to manage and curtail how you place burdens and expectations on them. But my tip for you today, my strategy number 3 is, if you really want to make 2024 count, you need to extract yourself from unnecessary burdens of black tax. God will give you wisdom. God will give you wisdom. Do not. I think I've said enough on that, and I'll just let that go. So let me continue. To the next topic. Are you guys having fun? If you're enjoying this class, please let me know. Let me know that I'm touching on some core subjects. We'll still talk about goals. So now, number 4, I want to talk about strategy now. Number 4, foresight. Number 4 strategy would be develop strategic foresight when setting your goals. This is a new thing that I learned recently. I took some notes down, so I want to make sure I don't miss some of the core points I wanted to raise in this class today. So recently, if this time last year, many people set goals, as I did. We set many goals without considering that the year can take an entirely different turn. So in 2023 in Nigeria, for those people who are from Nigeria who are watching this, the elections took place. And it came with it a certain hardship when the subsidy was removed from fuel. It quadrupled the cost of living overnight. So many things began to just appear to go wrong. Everything tripled. If bread was 300 naira before, it became 1,000 naira. If transport was 7 naira before, it became 20 naira. Airfares, for crying out loud. I didn't think I'll see the day that airfares would be 250,000 naira to travel to a place in Nigeria and come back. I didn't think that would be a thing, but here we are. So I had to go think that there must be a way to help us cope with unexpected things in life. So I have decided to include in my goal setting sessions, in my purely technical goal setting sessions, strategic foresighting as a major part of goals. Because when you set goals, many times you set goals based on your current indices, current happenings, your knowledge base, and just basically what the trends that are going on at that time. For many people, except in big corporate organizations, foresighting and predicting that, okay, the year may take this turn wasn't really a thing. So it was always a shock when things went haywire. This year, just the cost of running some of my businesses, we had to put a peg, suspend some of the product lines for my, say, domestic help agency, because it just dawned on us that what we had figured out was sufficient to deliver a trained and vetted domestic help to someone's home was no longer sufficient. What it required to run the vetting processes, the security checks, the training, the basically just data collection and all of that was way more than we envisaged. And the volumes that we were hoping can make up the difference, people began to hold back on what we expected in terms of revenue. Why? Because the hardship in the economy, people began to rethink whether or not this money was worth spending. So I learned something in the course of trying to research this, and I heard something called VUCA. VUCA is basically, let me break it down to you, is what people who help people develop strategic analysis do. VUCA. So VUCA stands for V for volatility, U for uncertainty, C for complexity, and A for ambiguity. So I'll enjoy you to Google this. This is not a masterclass. This is a webinar. So I enjoy you to Google this if you want to know a bit more about this strategic analysis. So VUCA basically runs through these four things that many times in life, things can change, things can become volatile, things can become uncertain, things can become complex, and things can become ambiguous. And we don't usually know from where we are when those things will happen. So whenever we are planning the year, whenever we are setting goals, whenever we are making decisions, we plan with these things in mind. So I'm going to help you understand how this works. This is a simplified introduction that I hope you'll be able to draw something from. So why should you be strategic? Why shouldn't you just set goals, just for setting goals, and then ginger yourself and say, I've set my goals? Okay. If you can hear me, say hi. If you live in Nigeria, you know that power cuts are not very unusual. So while the generator is being sorted out, so power cuts are a regular occurrence here in hometown. So I hope you can see me. Okay. So I was trying to break down why you need to be strategic when setting goals and planning for the year. So why should you be strategic? Number one, because of possible disruptions. No one knows when the fuel will take a dive. No one knew that there would be a war at the beginning of last year, and to think that before the end of the year, a second war had joined in. I really hope that we're not going to have new wars coming up in 2024, but we're no longer going to just talk about wishful hopes. We're going to start to plan our lives, trying to factor in some of these things that were not things that we're trained to plan for before. So why do we need to be strategic? Because disruptions can happen at any time. Disruptions can be change, it can be people, it can be a health situation in your family. A major disruption for us was my dad's ill health. He took ill all of a sudden, and then it kind of like completely rerouted my daily activities. And after all the gallant effort he put to stay alive, he still passed. That was a major life-shattering disruption. I didn't factor it. I didn't factor the fact that if something this major happens to me, do I have systems in place for my business to run while I was sitting taking care of much needed home family matters? No. So disruptions can be a major reason. Oh, thank you. So disruptions can be a major reason to begin to plan strategically. Another thing is you want to know about being strategic is that you don't need to wait for potential challenges to catch you unawares before you begin to prepare for them. It's an African thing to say, God forbid. It's not my portion. But see, we don't want to think, we are people who are planning to make 2024 our most meaningful year yet. We're going to have impact. We're going to grow. So you don't want to be planning and just having wishful thinking. You're going to start thinking like someone who expects that if XYZ happens, do I have something in place? Do I have systems in place that can help me continue to make sure I continue in the lifestyle I'm living? You know, relationships can take a dive. You can suddenly find out that, a divorce is a life-threatening incident. Sometimes that can happen, and will that affect your goals, your plans, your income generating stream? So what if something happened and you became ill and you couldn't work? Do you have an automated process that ensures that your money keeps coming in, how do you even pay for the hospital bill if you are not there to be active? I know that there are people who die just merely because they are the active line of their businesses and they were shut down because of ill health, and the money that was needed to pay for the health was not there, and they ran out of opportunity. So you want to prepare, okay? You don't want to wait for potential challenges to waylay you before you begin to prepare for them. This is like one of my biggest take homes for 2024. I hadn't envisaged, like, so many things happened this year, from the elections in Nigeria to the quadrupling of the cost of living in Nigeria to the major changes in plans in my personal life, that made me realize I cannot think like all fingers are equal and that everything is going to turn out exactly how I want. So I began to think that I must start thinking, if this scenario happened, what will I do with it? What am I going to do with this information? Am I making sense? If I'm making sense, say something in the comments below and let me know if this is driving home something. Okay? I see people commenting. Yeah. So say something in the comments below. Have you ever had to deal with a disruption you didn't foresee? And how did that take its toll on the quality of life that you lived? And if that was the case, what did you change? What did you change about how you were handling that circumstance, that situation? Did it change for the better, or were you just swallowed up by it? Okay, if you are here and you have something in the comments below, I would like to say something so that I can share it with others, okay? So one of the things you want to develop your strategic mental muscle for is that if you are able to think strategically, it prepares you for different changes that may occur. You are not taken unawares by disruptions. You become more resilient, and you are able to take advantages of possible scenarios that, just by training you have envisaged. Okay? And then, of course, you are able to adapt to customer needs. So you want to be able to plan your scenario. So let me try to break down what scenario planning. I took time to write it down here. This is just an introduction if you have never really heard about this before. And if you have, that's fantastic. So scenario planning are just the attempts we take, the attempts to eliminate some of the possible scenarios. For instance, now, if I'm running a business that requires directly transportation as a major aspect of my business, and the fuel increased again, is there anything I can do around transportation to minimize the cost? Is there anything I can do around transportation to minimize the cost of running that business? So let me give you a perfect example. I use gas to cook. All of a sudden, the fuel goes up, and it appears like cooking gas has become a thing. What am I going to do to mitigate? I had to think, okay, so perhaps maybe this year we're going to learn to enjoy more grilled food. We're not going to cook everything on gas anymore. And that might, I've always, that might say Hausa term for anyways. So I'd already decided that I was going to start eating more grilled food, eating less fried foods, and things like that. So all the better. I'll just get some coal, and then we'll make grilled food a regular part of our diet now. If you decide that you don't want to use coal, there's electric a grill where you can now grill food, reducing your use of gas. So factoring that in from the beginning, I decided that, because I'm thinking that grilled food may be a good substitute, I now wrote down a food timetable that include a bit more grilled food than I previously would have considered. So now, even though the fuel has not increased, even though we have been on this steady gas cost for a certain length of time now, I have already begun to reduce my dependence on gas by introducing grilled food to my daily diet. So do you see how scenario planning can help you figure out problems long before they appear? I hope that example was helpful to someone. So what you want to do if you want to figure out scenario planning, choose a scenario. I have told you about the food we eat in my house, how we decided to put grilled food as part of our diets, like put more grilled foods in a week now, so that we can reduce the dependence on gas. Even though we can still afford to buy gas, if for any reason gas becomes scarce or something happens to gas, I have already developed an alternative now to gas that will enable me to still have great tasting food without spending all that money or running around helter-skelter looking for gas. Okay? And another example would be the fact that I can grill outside my house. If there's another lockdown because a pandemic happened, I won't be stranded looking for where to get. So I just made sure I have enough coal, somewhere in the house where we are making it a habit, and then we can grill food as often as we want. And even if we uh, run out of the necessary things, we have made sure that. So, for instance, now having a little garden in the house is a way to mitigate just being shocked into being on lockdown because a pandemic happened. So many people struggle during the pandemic because they don't have any way to purchase food in bulk, or they don't have any way where they have any little urban garden where they can just have some little meals prepared without going to the market. All those are scenario planning that if you are able to factor it into the way you think and plan. So if you have any peculiar situation that you think scenario planning might be beneficial, we can attempt to do something, a scenario planning on the screen right here. So share something in the comments below, and let's take advantage of other people here, and let us help you scenario plan. So there's a lot more about scenario planning that I don't want to go into right now. It's more detailed, and if you sign up for any of my goal setting classes, I'll probably take time and break down how to successfully plan scenario. But that said, number 3, be strategic in the way you set your goals. Okay, so now let me come to goal setting, which is like number 4, number 4B. Number 4B, you must set goals. There's no one that made any progress without goals. See, if you may have been conscious of the goals you were setting, you may not have been conscious of the goals you were setting, but you were setting goals. So what you want to do in 2024 is to be a bit more intentional about the goals that you're setting. So I talk about different goals for different life patterns. Set goals for your recreation, yes. Set goals for the income you want to make. Set goals for the way you want to look. Set goals for your health. Set goals for the kind of new relationships you want to develop. Set goals for the new business deals you want to close. Set goals for the new things you want to achieve in your place of work. Set goals for the new things you want to infuse your lifestyle with. Set goals across board. So what makes for successful goal setting? Every goal must be smart. And by smart, I mean specific. What does specific? Okay, so let me read that out first. Smart, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. Every goal. If you don't check out those 5 things, you are not going to have a goal, you're going to have a wish. So every goal must check out, it must be specific in nature. Not just I want a car, but I want a red Benz 320 model M class. I don't know if that such a car exists. That's a specific car. Do you know why your specific goal? You know why you need to be specific? Because it narrows scenario planning. That's great to know. It narrows down the information you need to be able to achieve that specific goal. It narrows down the information you need to be able to achieve that specific goal. If the car is a red Benz M class, you are not going to be looking at a Toyota. A Toyota can cost 20 million, a Benz can cost 40 million. So if you have a specific goal, both of us can set goals to buy cars, but I have a 40 million goal and you have a 20 million goal. So do you see how that works? So the specific nature of the goal is always so important. Thank you, Ngupa, for that. Scenario planning, very interesting. Yeah, the scenario we gave was very helpful. I'm glad to know. I'm glad you find that helpful. So if you have any scenario that you think you can need a little bit of help in, we can do something with it on the screen in the question and answer session. So you need to be specific with your goals. Specific natures help you narrow down the information you require to achieve that goal. Now it needs to be measurable. Number 2, measurable. What is measurability of a goal? How frequently we can regularly check in at regular intervals. How frequently at regular intervals we can check in with that goal. If a goal is measurable, it means that at any time in the timeline of that goal, I should be able to ask you what have you achieved in that goal, and you'd be able to tell me that, oh, at this level, I'm 20% in. I'm 45% in. Great. Turn off your light. Hello, people. The lights are at it again. Okay, so before they had to put on the generator the last time, power came back, but we have another power cut. So I'm just going to ask them to leave the generator off until we are done so that we don't have another power cut. So you need to be able to measure your goals. Please, people of God, your goals can be measured regularly at intervals. Your goals can be measured weekly. Your goals can be measured monthly. Your goals can be measured quarterly. But don't ever set a goal without figuring out how you can measure your goals. It is your measurability of goals that actually show proof of conviction that you know you're going to achieve this goal. It's your ability to measure your goals that gives you the energy and the very clear-cut, step-by-step plan to achieving the goal. The specific nature of the goal is grand. You are free to dream anything you want. But when you are unable to measure your goals, you won't be able to tell us what you have been able to do. We can't check in with you regularly. So if you're going to be held accountable, exactly at what point do we agree that we can hold you accountable? What you will be looking for at different intervals to tell us that you are ready for this goal? So you want to be able to measure your goals. It's very critical and it's very important. So what else? So we have talked about the S and the M. Now we'll talk about achievability. Achievability just means that this goal is not a goal that human beings cannot achieve. And sometimes in the achievability of a goal, you want to know whether you are even qualified to set a goal like this. If somebody who is the head of an organization says let's say he's the second in command, and his goal for this year is to become the CEO or to be named partner, the achievability of that goal, what we are going to be looking at in the achievability of that goal is that he's already on track to becoming partner. If he were someone in the market who sells meat, who now says, I want to become a partner in this law firm, is that goal achievable for that person? It's not unachievable, but what it will require to put in place to now suddenly make that goal achievable for the second man who sells meat in the market, you can see a lot of work has to come into place. So am I going to say nothing is achievable? No, but I'm going to say when you set a goal, look at the achievability of that goal. Is that goal, do you qualify to set that goal? As a meat seller, do you want to be a CEO? What would be the first thing you want to do? First of all, you want to determine whether or not you have the qualifications to work in that company. Maybe the company does not require you to go to school to be able to get the job. So you start in the company at the bottom rungs, and then you start climbing up. Your achievability quotient is now being narrowed. Something about it. So maybe in that company, let me just say, as outlandish as this sounds, that somebody who came in as a security can become the CEO. Is it even possible in that company? If it's not possible, what needs to be adjusted to make it possible? That is what achievability is about. So if that goal is achievable, go for it. If it's not achievable, adjust what needs to be adjusted. Adjust what needs to be adjusted. Otherwise, you're just going to be setting goals that you don't qualify to set, and everybody knows that you're going to set it, and everybody knows you're going to flunk it, and we know that next year you're going to write it again until you stop believing in yourself. So you want to make sure that your goals are achievable. Okay? So what's the next one? R, realistic. Yes. That realistic doesn't mean you should set goals that you are capable of achieving. It's to set goals that even though your current circumstances they are way beyond your current circumstances, you are putting in place the support system, the knowledge base, to be able to achieve that goal. If you have a newborn baby and you are told that take your 2-week-old baby and go and learn how to become a pilot, is that goal achievable? Yes. Why? Maybe because you have gone to you have done the paperwork, you have done the simulation of going to becoming maybe you've written the exams and you've passed, so you are on track to becoming a pilot, but right now you have a baby. Is it realistic to leave your baby. Let's assume that you want to be a hands-on mom. You want to be able to breastfeed your baby at will. You want to take your baby on demand. You want to be with your baby for 6 months. Is this a realistic goal to now set that is just when you have your baby that you want to go for pilot school? So the realistic nature of that goal will be called into question. So what do you need to do? You now adjust the goal a bit. You adjust the R part. While I want to be able to achieve this goal at this time, it will not be possible in the next 1 year because I just had a newborn baby. And I have decided as part of my life values to bring up my baby myself. So I'm not going to maybe hand over the baby to a nurse and do that. So because of that, that goal will be called into question. So R for any goal needs to just look at the support system around whether or not that goal is possible. If not, maybe there are a few things you need to adjust. If this person insists that I have been waiting for the opportunity to be a pilot, it's unfortunate that it came in at the time I just had my baby. What do I need to put in place to ensure that even though I just had a baby, I can still go to pilot school? I can still go to School of Aviation and become a pilot. I will now do something. Maybe I'll have help. I'll have like domestic help on another level. Maybe I'm going to ask my mom to come stay with me. Maybe I'm going to relocate from where I currently am so that I'm in a place where I have a lot of people who are able to help me that I can trust. Or I'm going to go to an aviation school that has provisions for people with babies. Those are all the little things you can tweak in preparation for your goals to be able to achieve your goal. So your R we called into question, and you want to make sure that you have what it takes to support the goal that you want to achieve. And then of course T means time bound, meaning that every goal must have a lifespan. Every goal must have a lifespan. Every goal must have a time where it starts and it concludes. So Andokura says, be well informed, because by doing so you can prepare way ahead of time. Yes. For example, he says, I keenly followed the Petroleum Act. Fantastic. I keenly followed the Petroleum Act in the National Assembly in 2021. So I know that the petrol will sell for 700 per liter. So I prepared. Fantastic, Aldokura. You see, I even took time. I didn't mention it here, but let me even go on to mention some really serious scenarios that we should be looking out for in 2024. Okay. So do you get the issue about setting goals? We're still under strategic planning. Strategy number 4. We're still about strategic planning. So it's important that you set goals, understanding what it takes to set goals that you are prepared to achieve. Okay. So just coming back to Andokura's comment, here are a few things that I wanted to even drop as some things you should consider when preparing for your goals. So let me see. Where did I write them down now? Where did I write down? So here are a few World Bank forecasts that I thought to note, just to prepare you in case you don't realize that these are things you can factor into your goal setting. So World Bank forecasts that in 2024, there will still be persistent insecurity across the globe. Armed conflict will still exist. So what does that tell us? That perhaps if we wanted to just travel wildly without preparing, we now need to start thinking that, okay, if armed conflict is not going to disappear in 2024, how can we mitigate it? What can we do to ensure that my family still goes on a decent vacation without putting ourselves in harm's way? That's a scenario planning. That's a scenario that you might want to factor into your plans. Another thing may be, I wrote down here, deteriorating livelihoods for many people. I mean, in Nigeria, Andokura's comment is just perfect. He said he followed the Petroleum Act. So one of the things I am going to factor into my everyday life now is paying attention to the budget. Paying attention to the budget in a way I've never paid attention. Pay attention to the amounts that are allocated to different industries. Find the industry that I am interested in and see what was allocated in that industry and begin to prepare myself. What are the problems within that industry that I can solve? Coming back to point 2, the solver's mindset. So, deteriorating livelihoods in Nigeria, in fact, across West Africa, World Bank tells us that that's a thing. So those are things we cannot shut our eyes to any longer. We cannot say, oh, it doesn't concern me, God forbid, I'm covered by the blood. No, information is giving you to take action. There's a scripture that says, you see trouble from afar and you hide yourself. You don't go foolhardy into trouble and say, God save me. The information is handed down to you ahead of time to give you the opportunity to prepare and think of how to mitigate that problem. Okay, so another thing that World Bank tells us will be an issue in 2024 is the impeding of agriculture, and it says that especially cereal production will be an issue. So what does that tell? If anybody is in this live chat and who is into production, who is into manufacturing of cereals, you know now that that's an opportunity right there opening up for you. Why? Because World Bank says, I think that perhaps the Ukraine war and now the war in Gaza, maybe the wars there are affecting the production of cereal in other parts of the world. So what are you going to do with that information? That's left to you. Are you going to say, okay, so let's stop eating cereal, or we make cereal, maybe we need to double our efforts to try and close the gap that these other warring areas have exposed us to? You know, so these are all the different things that you can consider. Another thing is inflation will be up by 74% in 167 countries. Make of that information what you may. Make of that information what you may. Oil will be selling for $78 per barrel. GDP, growth will be 3.76 growth rate. What does that information even mean to you now? 2024, here we come. 2024, we're going to be successful. 2024, we're raising the roof. 2024, we're going to be billionaires. We're going to be this. All this information, is it influencing the decisions that you're making? Strategic planning. If you don't know how to plan strategically, if you don't know how to use scenario plannings to work, you are going to just run right in headlong into issues that you won't prepare for. So consider all these things, and some of the news is that crypto is going to get a bounce back. Crypto had a real dip this year and had a bad rap. People were criticized and people just abandoned the thing. But they tell us that bullish growth is going to happen around crypto. Okay? They say that investors would begin to fund startups again. So are you someone dreaming of running a startup? Perhaps now is the time to start preparing. What are investors interested in? What do investors want to know from a startup? I personally have a startup that I have been working on for a while, and I'm prepared now this year to launch it. So I have been talking with a couple of people just to know what people are investors want to know. What do I need to prepare? What do I need to know to affect? So I didn't just set the goal that this year I will achieve this goal. I have already started factoring in the different scenarios that I need to be aware of, so that goal would be able to run through that smart and check every single indices. So the budget of Nigeria this year for 2024 is 27.5 trillion. What does that mean for you? If you are in education, what does that mean for you? If you are in agriculture, what does that mean for you? Are you prepared to start thinking of how to collect your share? Or are you just thinking, thank God, or like, God, the budget doesn't cost me, let me just collect my own money and be going, So all of that strategic plan, those are things you need to be ready for. As strategy number 4, be strategic, set goals, and develop foresight. Be strategic, set goals, and develop foresight. So I hope this point has hit home, or at least has opened your mind up to some possible scenarios that you didn't envisage, and now it's going to be expanding your mind, giving you ideas of how to mitigate these goals. One thing I want you to take home from this particular strategic point is that you don't need to set 1,000 goals. 3-4 main goals, and you will cover majority of the goals of the year. So reduce your goals to 3-4, call them the big hairy goals. Most of the other goals you are trying to set will fit in there somewhere. Okay? So I hope this point has driven home. If you have a comment, contributions, I'd like to see you in the chat comment so that other people can benefit from it. If this has made sense to you and all of that, okay? If you have any questions, keep your questions when we come to the question and answer session. So number 5, self-sabotage. Self-sabotage. Please, who here has sabotaged themselves before? Self-sabotage is a big deal for many people who want to make progress. And the thing about self-sabotage is it can be so subtle that you don't even realize that you have accommodated it and you are damaging your own progress with your own hands. Okay? So one of the things that people use to sabotage themselves is being extremely apologetic for having ambitions. In 2024, you're not going to do that. You are not going to apologize for having ambitions. You're not going to dumb down because a couple of people around you think maybe you are overdoing, you're pushing yourself too much. You should do self. What's all this one? Please, you should do. This year is not the year. 2024 is not the year for listening to rubbish. So this year, I want you to become aware of when you are sabotaging yourself. Become aware of when you are by yourself finding excuses to fail, justifying either the laziness, justifying your fear, justifying your activity. This is the year to develop courage. That this is the year to become strong. This is the year to grow. 2024, oh God, this year was so tough that look, we can't even play the way we were playing last year. If there's anything that I'm going to take away from this year is I'm going to wear courage like an outfit. I'm going to wear courage so that I will not, whatever excuse I was planning to give myself, my little boy king tried to interrupt this class. Don't mind him. He thinks he's a king. So you see, I have a king in my house. We have royalty. We have to factor in all those things into our plans, you know. Okay. So please, number 5, stop being apologetic for your ambitions. Okay, don't sabotage yourself. If you have sabotaged yourself and you're in this chat room, stand up and go outside. Stand up and go outside. Okay, I'm kidding. But you get what I'm saying. Many times, if we're to be honest with ourselves, we can recognize when we sabotage ourselves. We are not going to do that in 2024. If you like set all the goals in the world, if you like tell yourself this year I'm making $1 million, even though last year you made 200,000 naira, but this year I'm going to make $1 million. I've gingered myself. I've built my vision board. I know what I'm saying. If you are not, don't sabotage yourself by setting goals that you are not qualified to set. Don't sabotage yourself by sitting around the company of people who will kill your goals. Have you ever been around those people that they don't say anything, but they'll just do? When you say, so this year I was thinking at my company, we want to move offices. We are thinking we're going to start bidding for jobs of this size. And then somebody does, wow. They haven't said anything, or they didn't say there is not true, it's true, but instantly you feel a dampener in your spirit. You become embarrassed, you become shamed. You know, sometimes you know these people will not support you, but you still carry your story and go and tell them. This year, in 2024, you're not going to do that. You're not going to be sharing your story carelessly with anybody. You're not going to be harboring naysayers all the time because, you know, I don't want to be alone. I don't want to be alone. I want to have friends around me. So you insist on sitting and dining with the enemy. That is not going to be your story in 2024. In 2024, you are going to kill self-sabotage. You are going to squash the associations. You are not going to do anything that you are not ready to do. And by ready, I don't mean you're just lazy for being lazy. There are certain kinds of exposures that you get that are premature because you have not put all the things in place to ensure that when you achieve that goal, you have everything in place. It's like saying I'm going to Dragon's Den. It's like saying I'm going to Dragon's Den. You know the Dragon's Den? Dragon's Den is this entrepreneurial program where people come and pitch to successful millionaires. And then the millionaires invest in their business, offer them mentorship and investment. Okay? But then you don't do your homework. Then you go and say, oh, I have so and so, and I want you to invest in me, and I'm asking for $100,000 for 20% equity in my business. Then they start asking you questions, and then you realize you're not ready. That is what I mean by you're not ready. If you're not ready, don't sabotage yourself. Get ready. Do the work that is required so that in 2024 your goals can make sense. Let me see if there are any comments. Stop being Stop apologizing for your. Some people set Iroko goals. I wonder what you mean by that. Stop apologizing. At the same time, don't set too many goals that you're unable to achieve. Come on, people. If you've done that several times, just take it easy. Achieve it. But let me give you a perfect example. When it comes to finances, right? People cannot apply a lot of wishful thinking. I too, in the past, I used to do that. So I tell myself, maybe this last year, okay, for instance, let me actually be honest. So several years ago, in a whole year, I'd make like maybe, okay, let me say 12 million, right? I'll say I made 12 million this year. Then I'll now sit down and be looking at my goal. And I'll tell myself, this next year, I'm going to make $1 million. Is it impossible? No. Why? Because many people in the world have achieved $1 million in that goal. But is it going to be possible for me? Not that it's impossible, but there are certain things that I need to put in place to ensure that $1 million is possible, because setting goals is not wishful thinking. Setting goals is setting plans that have empirical results. Setting A, B, C, D have to be in place. So for instance, now you did 12 million last year. In the Nigeria of today, that's not going to get you anywhere. So I'm talking of something from time immemorial, from a long time ago. So one of the things you want to do is to in order to develop your muscles and build capacity, you want to give yourself a percentage increase. For instance, you can say, this year I want to improve my income by 20%. Calculate what 20% of what you achieved last year is, and then give yourself that as a goal. Except you have a reason why you have given yourself that massive goal. The point here is that you should be able to explain to somebody who is requesting to know why you think you can achieve this goal, why you think you can achieve $1 million. So yes, it's possible to have made 12 million naira in 2007, for instance, and then in 2008, the next year, for instance, you now tell yourself you want to make $1 million. So what will $1 million mean in terms of equivalent, or how much growth will you need to have undertaken to be able to make that a reality? So you may want to say, okay, I have just recently discovered a new business line that I guarantee can fetch me $250 million and $250,000 this year. I have put in the work, I have gotten the work in place. So I guarantee that if I put this business in place with the systems and whatever product, whatever line it is, I'm sure that $250,000 will come out of it. Now you are beginning to make sense. I can see now why you think maybe $1 million will be a goal. So if it's just merely, oh, I'm doing the same thing, same old thing from last year, I set the goals, I'm still working at the job, I don't have an additional, like I think it was Victorious Victor that said, I teach people who have 9 to 5s how to have side hustles. So you have a 9 to 5, you are earning 400,000 from the 9 to 5, yet you have a financial goal that requires you to have an additional or more than one additional source of income to be able to meet that goal. If you don't have that source of income, you are going to be sabotaging yourself. You're going to be sabotaging yourself. So you want to make sure that you have in place what it takes to justify the goals that you have set. Am I making sense here? Am I making sense? Everybody, drink more water. It's not easy. Some of these things, it took me a while to learn this. And it's taking me a while to even show people more. But now I know for sure that I know what I'm saying. So you want to grow in increments, then you explode. I'm not saying that. So if, for instance, now I say give yourself a 20% increase, and you achieve that 20% increase for 3 consecutive months, please increase your goal by all means. Don't say, oh, because I said 20% increase in my finances this year, that is the goal for the year. If for any reason your goal changed, because 3 consecutive months you exceeded whatever, you have already exceeded your capacity to achieve that goal, set a new goal. Give yourself a new timeline. Check whether it's measurable. See the specific nature. Ensure that it's achievable, that you have different streams of income in place to achieve that goal. And then make sure that you have the support system to enable you achieve that goal. And please, by all means, fly. I hope you get my point, right? So don't apologize. See, you know the reason why anybody else is not making it. So stop trying to. I'm saying this because it was an issue for me. I'll just be giving excuses why I didn't want to pursue something. Everything was always done half-heartedly, because I used to just feel I don't want to be seen as, I've been criticized before, so it stung me. So I didn't want to be stung again by criticism, blah 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 blah. We're not going to do that in 2024. It's not going to be a thing in 2024. So I hope that you are not sabotaging yourself. If you have sabotaged yourself, please say something in the comment section and share with us so that I can share with the community what is going on. Are you guys having a great time? I know I am. See, it's been long since I took some of my webinars, so I'm really excited to be here today. Number 6, networks and relationships. Network and relationships. relationships. So you've heard it all over the place. You hear it in church, you hear it in motivational speakers, you hear it with people. Oh, you need networks, you need to collaborate, you need to know how to mingle with people, and all that is true. But today I want to just harp on a few things that can impede your successful entry into building networks. Okay, so one of the things you don't want to do in 2024 is continue to be judgmental. How has that got to what has that got to do with goal setting? It has everything to do with goal setting. There's not a single person who became a millionaire, who became a person of influence or impact in this world that did not rise with people. Every single time people broke through, there were people who were positioned to help them. There were people who were positioned in church, people at work, people you meet in the clubhouse, old friends from secondary school, people you meet on the streets, people you interact with in different places. People are positioned to help you. Everyone who has made anything of their lives always rides with people. So people and relationships are the real fuel of life. However, how we build and nurture those relationships say a lot about whether or not we're going to go far. In 2024, you don't want that to be you. So one of the things I want you to take down, if that was in your bag before, is if you were a judgmental person. And by judgmental, I mean you have a lot of strong opinions about people that do not meet your approval. Do you... Oh God. It's important that, because when you are judgmental, you shut the potential of what the person can do for you. Let me tell you a funny story. So my kids are currently doing staycation. Abigail. They're currently on staycation. So they are house hopping. They are hopping from my home to my sister's homes, one after the other, and then to grandma, keeping grandma company and all of that. So a lot is going on. They're having fun. So they decided one of those weekends to hotel hop. And when they got to the hotel, there was this gentleman who emerged from a car beside them. He's kind of like, he's an eccentric dresser, let me put it that way. So he dresses very ostentatiously. He's loud and kind of like obnoxious, right? But he's a very popular person in Nigeria. At least, I don't see him these days, but way back in the day, he was extremely popular. And even if he wasn't popular, just merely for looking the way he does, he will attract a lot of attention. So, the person the adult who was with them was like, oh my God, he came and was like, I saw this guy today. He was dressed in such a funny way. I was so upset, and he greeted me and I couldn't answer the greeting. I was so upset with how he looked that I thought to myself, I can't answer the greeting. And then, of course, we laughed about it and everything, and I went to bed. The next morning, I asked him, I said, okay, so if that person had in his hand your breakthrough, you might have just missed it. Because he said, well, he's sure God won't put his breakthrough in that person's hand. I'm like, you don't know. Do you think Jesus would have answered the guy's greetings if he met the guy? And we had a good laugh, and he was like, oh gosh, I'm not Jesus, and and everything. But I think he took away something, that sometimes when we are too judgmental, we can miss out on great opportunities that lie in front of us. Instead of every time writing prayer point, going to church, praying, yet you treat people badly. You judge people harshly. You are not kind. You are not patient. You are easily irritable, easily put off, easily disgusted, and all of that stuff. You may just be shutting down your stream of income. You might just be shutting down the person who may be the link to your breakthrough. You might just be losing an opportunity of the person who will be the person who will give you your next level. It's not everybody that has the money to give you, but they know people. People know people. Even that beggar on the street, he knows somebody. You might be shocked who that beggar knows. So this year, peel back the layers of judgment when you meet people. Peel back the layers of judgment when you meet people that are not like you. Peel back the layers of judgment when you meet people who naturally you won't interact with. And be kinder to them, like be a bit more patient with people. Everybody doesn't have to be in your sphere of concern, in your sphere of influence, but they are in your sphere of concern. And by sphere of influence and concern, I mean influence means the circle that is directly around you. You have to monitor who goes in there. It's not everybody you can allow to be in there influencing your mind, influencing your heart, influencing your decisions. It's not everybody that can make it in there. But everybody else belongs somewhere in some degree at the sphere of concern, which is the outer circle. Some of these people you can't stand, who you may be quick to judge, may be in your sphere of concern. Don't shut out the opportunities that they can bring to you, okay? Forming opinions about people's choices, about their appearance, can limit your ability to connect with others. I want to make this a real goal in 2024, that I am limiting my strong opinions about other people, how they choose to live their lives and what they choose to do. Okay? So whenever you are able to withhold the ability to judge people, you keep it under wraps, you are usually less offended. Ooh, Chimney. Okay. This I will soon finish. Sorry. Let me quickly upgrade it now and make sure it connects to the Wi-Fi. Okay. So am I making sense? Am I making sense? Am I making sense? So this year number 2, when it comes to relationships, try to release grudges. They make us unpleasant and make it difficult for people to interact with us. You see, we may think that if you're pretty, you are so sure people will like you. Usually there's a wall that an unpleasant aura creates. It can create many boundaries. It can shut out many opportunities. So you want to make sure that along with judgment go grudges and your ability to be easily offended in 2024. So it's a different perspective from how, make sure you attend gatherings, make sure you take people's phone numbers, make sure you share your business cards. I think you've heard all those things. So I just want to talk about some deep things that would affect you at the core levels. That no matter how brilliant and beautiful your business card is, if you are not a pleasant person to be around, you're going to limit your opportunity to take advantage of the relationships and networks around you. Okay? This year, as we focus and get caught up in work, family life, obligations, let us learn to cultivate and nurture friendships. I was just telling a friend of mine how I admire his ability to nurture his friendships. And I think that's something I should be learning from him. He stays in touch with people he values regularly, and he tries to, find out what's going on with them and all of that stuff. And this is while still making sure that his friendships are strategic. They are not. He doesn't just pile on everybody who should be in the outer part of the sphere of concern and bring them into his sphere of influence. But he's able to manage the relationships, both close and far, in ways that are admirable. And I can see that, because of that, he has quite a large body of people that are always willing to assist, to help him, who want to associate with him pleasantly, and who want to give him opportunities for collaboration. So you want to nurture your friendships. Don't neglect your friendships this year, okay? Friendships show stability, reliability, and it's an attractive quality and value to have. So this year, in 2024, invest time and resources. Yes, invest time and resources. It does take some resources to keep friendships alive. An effort into nurturing the kinds of friendships that you need, okay? Because every friendship requires something, and that's all I'm going to be saying about networks and relationships today, okay? Friendships will help you build the right wisdom. Friendships will help you close knowledge gaps. Friendship will help you be in the company of people that can keep you motivated, keep you going, hold you accountable. So by this, I say a disclaimer is that not everybody is qualified to be your friend at the inner level. Not everybody is qualified to be your friend. Okay, so number seven strategy: track your progress. I think I've already said a bit about measurability. Your progress is very important. Tracking your progress is how you're able to encourage yourself. Tracking your progress helps you build conviction even more. Tracking your progress helps you cultivate the art of diligence. Diligence is such a key aspect of any habit and capacity you need to develop in 2024. So track your words. What are you saying to yourself? Are you limiting and sabotaging yourself? Track your actions. Are you doing what you shouldn't be doing? Are you paying attention to what you should be paying attention to? Are you careless with your time? Track your results. You've said you're going to do X, Y, Z. Has it produced the results that you want? Do you have the results that are yielding the kind of the results that you desire? Or are you falling short? What needs to change? What needs to give? Track your progress. So I have something I normally share with my goal setting class, which is, maybe I'll share it in the community. Habit trackers. Habit trackers tell you where your real focus lies. If you have a habit tracker and you're able to write down 10 of the daily activities you must do every day to achieve success, achieve certain goals, you'll be able to tell right off the bat, within a week or two, where your attention lies. You may think that you are busy doing the right things, but if you keep a habit tracker, you'll find out that you're doing the wrong things. So maybe that's what I'm going to share in the group. If you stay to the end, we'll put a link in the community for those who may want a habit tracker to download and use. It's very easy to use. So if you see it, you figure out what you need it for. Okay. Excuse me. In 2024, you want to track. Sorry. Excuse me. You want to track your habits. So have you ever had any issues with your relationships? Have that affected your outcomes, your goals, your success rates? If so, what did you do to change it? Do you want to share it in the comments with us so that we can learn from you? Excuse me, please. Somebody is calling my name. Somebody call my name. Somebody calling my name. Okay. So in 2024, strategy 8, you must build capacity. You must develop yourself. How can I overstate this? You've heard that over and over again. It takes a certain level of growth to become visible. It takes a certain level of growth to be recognized as an authority. It takes a certain level of growth to become a brand. It takes a certain level of growth, and that cannot come if you don't build capacity. How should you build capacity? Find the areas of interest and begin to daily give yourself information in that area. The only time I challenged myself to talk about money for 90 days on social media. It came with it the capacity to know how to plan my finances, along with it began to attract people of wealth to me. Hey, if people don't even know the laws of the universe. I think one of those days I'm going to teach you guys about the 90-day rule. The 90-day, somewhere in the next few weeks, I will talk about the 90-day rule, because I think it's good to understand it early in the year so that you can apply it to something strategic in your life. So the 90-day rule, I gave myself the decision to do something for 90 days, off and on camera. And that completely expanded my mind. I gave myself the task of reading up on a particular subject every day for 90 days. So I didn't make it cumbersome by reading too much. I just tried to read a little bit here, a little bit there on that topic until I began to know it extensively. So in 2024, your capacity is needed. There's a group of people in this world who will not listen to me, who will not listen to another person. They will listen to you. They might not listen to you because you might not be in a teaching capacity, but they'll be watching you and they'll be determining and making decisions about you every day. Do I want to engage this person on a business level? Do I want to engage this person as a consultant? Do I want to interact with this person? Do I want to learn from this person? Capacity. I once illustrated something once, but I don't have the water here. I don't have the water here to demonstrate, but this can be you. This is you. This is 2023 you. The size of this cup, your knowledge, your experiences, your understanding, your comprehension. This is you, right? But what 2024 requires from you is this. This is it. So if this cup was full of opportunities, and you need to turn these opportunities into this cup. This cup to contain what these opportunities hold, this cup has to expand in size. Do you understand? So if this cup is full of opportunities and you are still, maybe you even shrunk because, well, the fuel scarcity hit everybody, so you just stop growing, you stop reading, you just let yourself go, you stop caring. Your daddy died, so you also felt like dying along with him, and you just felt, no, I don't want anything. I'm using that as an example because it's a personal example for me. And because of the last words I had with my dad on his deathbed, it gave me the courage to rise up and not mourn like someone who has no hope. So I began to grow again, and the opportunities began to open up for me. They began to open up for me. So this cup needed to expand in size. You are this cup. You can't remain like this in 2024. You must grow in size to be able to take on the opportunities that are lying away. Wait here for you. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Yay! 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 Okay, so we're making progress. We're making progress. We're making progress. Any comments? Any comments to tell me if you are gleaning anything that you're going to add to your goals and plans for 2024? Anything? Please share with us so that we can know. Okay. So when it comes to building capacity, it also covers the area of self-discipline. Discipline basically helps you focus and go in the right direction. So you want to make sure that you are disciplined, and you carry out activities that will help you move in the direction of your goals. It helps you stay focused, it helps you go in the right direction, and it helps you understand the difference between long-term and short-term goals. Okay, God didn't I put this here as a point. I think I was talking to myself because I found out something. When you see somebody exhibiting confusion for a long time, fear and timidity is involved. You are doubting yourself, you are questioning yourself, you are refusing to rise up to the occasion. And where does that gap, what exposes the gap? The lack of capacity. Usually when you have capacity, your confidence grows, and you're usually not as confused. You have clarity, and it's easier to move fast in the direction of your interest. But when you find yourself confused, there's a lack of clarity there. Because of the lack of clarity is also due to the lack of capacity. You haven't convinced yourself that you really know it well. You are sabotaging your efforts. You are struggling and all of that. So you need to develop capacity by, number one, acquiring self-discipline. Self-discipline will help you gain clarity, help your focus, and help the direction that you're going in. It is discipline that helps you know that this is not the time to sleep. This is the time to do this. It is discipline that helps you know this is the time to sleep, and this is not the time to watch movies. Okay, so you want to make sure that you are disciplining yourself. Another area that will help you with your capacity building is managing your time. Managing your time. Time management and prioritization is a real issue. And for a long time, I was able to practice this in my life. But at some point in my life, I got sidetracked. I became confused. So I just lost track of my regular discipline. I'm not sure I can't remember whether it was childbirth and ill health, but it kind of like affected my daily routine, and it showed heavily in my priorities. I began to struggle to keep up with things that were just a no-brainer before. I just couldn't move in a direction. I would set a goal, I would fail. I'll set it again, I would fail. I just couldn't make progress in the way I wanted to make progress. And it began to affect my mind. And then it tampered with my time. Because I couldn't do XYZ at the time I proposed, it will always encroach on other things. I'd find myself showing up late to work, for instance. I'll tell myself, oh, I have a meeting, and one of my pet peeves is to go late for any event. I found myself going late all the time. So I'll be driving like a mad person on the road, almost jamming people because I didn't prioritize what needed to be prioritized at the time. And now I'm having to try to take from another time, borrow from the time that I should have leisurely driven to the place, so that I'll be calm, I won't be sweaty, my brain will be in the right state of mind, and I'll have the right energy around me. But because I don't prioritize sometimes, I struggle to prioritize then. I will not do the right thing, and then I will not be rushing, or on that morning I will not decide this is not the outfit I want to wear, or I didn't read for this exam properly. Like so many things. So your capacity is your life. If you want to make any kind of progress at all in 2024, you must do something about your capacity. You must do something about your capacity. You can't remain the same. You want to globetrot, work on your capacity. You want to be able to speak publicly, work on your capacity. You want to be able to change the way people treat you, work on your capacity. You want people to like you more, build capacity. You want to be more intelligent, build capacity. You want to make bloody money, build capacity. Do everything you can to build capacity. And then know that no matter how prepared you are, sometimes life happens. So you want to improve your adversity quotient. It's also part of capacity. Listen, so a couple of things happened at the beginning of the year that kind of like almost overwhelmed me. So a little talk with my coach and therapist, and I decided to embrace some level of adversity. I didn't know that there was going to be a bigger adversity waiting for me before the end of the year. So when my dad passed, I remember saying to myself, if this thing had happened to me 4 months ago, I would have succumbed and have broken down under pressure that wouldn't have made sense. I would have broken down. I would not have risen to the occasion. Yet, I saw myself rise to the occasion in a way that I couldn't recognize myself. Capacity. So one of the things that building capacity does, it gives you self-control and resilience. Self-control and resilience. It trains your muscle. It trains your Ogosa Okoro. Thank you for joining us. It trains your muscles and helps you develop them over time so that you can avoid destructive behavior and distractions. You see, if you are able to develop resilience, you will be able to fight temptation. There are many things that can tempt you, good and bad things. Good for you, but wrong timing. Bad for you, bad timing. So when you are trying to self-control and build resilience, you have to train that muscle, internal muscle, over time to avoid destructive behaviors, to avoid self-sabotaging behaviors, to avoid distractions, to avoid limiting behaviors, to anything at all that can just cripple you. Those things don't come out. See, you cannot give an orange, if it's squeezed, cannot give what it does not have. The only thing that can come out of an orange when it's squeezed is orange juice. When pressure lands, because I can assure you pressure will come. If it has not already come, it will come. When it lands, it's who you are under pressure that will determine whether or not is what capacity you build over time. You can't even rush capacity building. You cannot rush pregnancy. You cannot rush the baby being formed in your womb. Capacity building is like a baby being formed in your womb. It will only be tested. It will only be tested. So I wrote here that limit behaviors and situations that will test your willpower unnecessarily. It's not everywhere you need to be proving something to anybody. It's not everywhere you need to prove that you are strong. It's not at that bar when you have an important meeting the next day that you need to prove that you can drink a whole carton of beer. It's not there. It's not in that it's not on that day that you need to prove that I have money and I can carry expensive handbags. So I've been saving money for XYZ, but that day I saw a friend of mine carrying a certain handbag. She criticized my bag, so I used my money, rushed to the thing and bought a Prada bag. That is you failing your capacity test. Because capacity should be able to help you delay gratification, help you handle criticism, help you limit, help you control the situations where you plant yourself in rubbish. So you must be able to handle capacity, so that the temptations don't overwhelm you. You will never be ready for temptation at the time of the temptation. You will always be ready for temptation before the temptation, but you will not know until the temptation arrives. Okay? So that temptations have no hold over you. Okay? So make sure you build capacity. All of this is under capacity. Also, because failure and setbacks are a part of life, I am not going to pretend like if you don't, every single thing will go smoothly for you. One of the things that you can do in capacity is be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself and allow yourself recover when you have been confronted by failures and setbacks. It takes a person who has made a terrible mistake to say, I have made a mistake. I am sorry for the mistake I made. I will retrace my steps and not fall apart and die. Have you met people who just made one mistake and they feel that mistake, I cannot recover from it? Oh, I made a mistake. The mistake is on their head. The mistake is on their hand. They wear it every day like a badge. Everybody who knows them know they made a mistake in 1975. Until today, years later, oh, that mistake I made, that decision I made. If I tell you my mistakes, you will just think, oh my God, and you will be shocked. If I told you some of the mistakes I have made that have cost me money, time, and progress. If I tell you some of the mistakes, you feel like knocking my head. But I told myself, recover from the mistake. Don't judge yourself too harshly. In 2024, when you are trying to enter new levels and leave your comfort zone, mistakes are part of the game. You are going to make mistakes. When you are building new networks, you are going to find yourself making some mistakes if you are not familiar with it. When you are developing and trying to handle black tax, you are going to step on some toes. When you are trying to track your progress, you are going to try to sabotage yourself. All of those things are mistakes. It's part of life. It's not the end of the world. But if you are able to overcome the mistakes by being kind to yourself, you have developed capacity. That is why some people they will not care if you laugh at them. They will not care if you criticize them. They will not even care if you hail them. They have so developed thick skin and capacity that they just keep on focusing on the goal. The goal is the price. It's not the hailing. Don't subject yourself to, how did somebody put this thing now? There was a way I tried to learn this and I wrote it somewhere. I can't remember how I captured it. But I said that don't give in to both praises and criticisms. But I captured it in a way that was sounding really cute to my ears. But I can't quite remember how I said it, and I cannot find. Possibly I didn't write it in my journal here today. I possibly didn't write it, but you understand. You get my point, Ba. I like how practical and instructive this is because we all have this tendency, of course, except you're not a human being, and that's part of why I said these are success strategies, because it is important to acknowledge that the strategies mean they are long-term goals. That means you're planning towards them, making effort, growing capacity, developing them to be successful. We don't just have one thing we want to achieve in 2024. We want to add 2025, 2026, 2030, 2040, 2050, 2060 to the list of our constant progress. We don't want to just stop halfway. Oh, I did this one, then you died there, So that's why they are success strategies. They're things that you're going to have to change and make it part of your everyday life to be able to make progress. Just be kind to yourself. Be very kind to yourself. It's very important to if you don't even know how kind you must be to yourself. Let me tell you a very touching story. I've shared this story twice now, and I don't have the permission of the person because even though it was in a public space, I really want her. I'm going to bring her one of these days to our community because she's a very powerful speaker. She has a very powerful story that is very inspiring. One time, she used to be like a major druggie when she was younger. Like major druggie. Great. I'm glad to see you be built. Yes, so build capacity because that's your own. No, that's what you have. That's you. So this lady used to be a druggie, like a drug addict when she was much younger, did the whole works, everything you can imagine that was wrong. I don't even know what these drugs are. I don't know their names, but I know that many people do drugs and it destroys them for a long time. She has come out of it and she helps people deal with drugs. So one day she put up an event where she was going to be, she was invited to speak at an event about how she overcame drugs. Someone that hadn't been in touch with her for many years saw the flyer and in public wrote something like, I can never attend this kind of event when that woman is the one speaking. I can never have anything to do with her. That lady was such a wayward woman when we were younger. So people, of course, people know that, what are those Facebook groups now? Rant HQ, Insta Blog Niger, those kinds of things. It was like, let us see now what will happen. And then people started commenting, people that, other people that knew her, who felt this was a train to ride on, jumped on the train. Others were just watching, let's see how this will play out and everything. Of course, the thing got to her, to the person who was criticized. And she came on the scene and wrote a very long article and called that person out and said, I'm sorry that my past hurt you this much. I'm sorry that my mistakes and my foolishness have so hurt you that even after many years after I've changed, you're unable to get past it. Please forgive me. You see, because I've also forgiven myself. If I didn't forgive myself, I won't be able to help the thousands of people I've helped. She's like one of the most incredible drug addicts therapists I know today. Effective lady. I wouldn't have been able to help all these people if I didn't forgive myself. Please, I want to ask you to also forgive me. It takes capacity to do that. It takes capacity to grow, to be able to accommodate both the criticisms and the adulations. Capacity. This year, you are going to work on capacity. If you have to look at this video again, please go and watch it again. But don't allow yourself to punish yourself beyond the limit. Tell yourself, this year I will be disciplined and I'll master myself and my emotions. I will manage my time. I will prioritize properly. I will be self-controlled. I will work with resilience. I will manage and allow myself to recover when I make mistakes. I will forgive myself when I have to. I will develop myself. I will learn what I need to learn, but I will not succumb to anybody's expectations of me when it comes to failure. 2024. We're going to wear the same trouser. They play. So, capacity building is super important. We're rounding up now. Thank you for your kind comments. I'm glad. I hope that other people feel the same way, that you can take away something from this chat, these comments, okay? All right, so let's talk about self-mastery and awareness. Self-awareness. Let me start this topic. Let me start this strategy. I called it self-mastery and awareness. Let me start. So this is my 9th point, and then we have one more point, and then we'll call it a day. So I wrote here, know thyself and fix thyself. Self-awareness. Self-awareness was instrumental to me finding who I am today. It is self-awareness that made me know and like myself. It is self-awareness that made me know this is not what I'm supposed to do with my life. It is self-awareness that made me know this person is not supposed to be in my sphere of influence. This person should not be my close friend. This person should be my close friend. I shouldn't be behaving like this. I shouldn't go. Self-awareness, very powerful. Self-awareness helped me know how to navigate my good sides and my bad sides. So you have a bad side? Yes. Let me tell you how powerful acknowledging your good and bad sides is. As a good person, you want to be liked. You want people to say you are pretty. You want people to say you are intelligent. You want people to say you are nice. You want people to say you are rich. You want people to like you. I want to invite you to all the parties. You want to be seen. You want people to pay you plenty money for the work that you do for them. You want people to say, oh, the president is my friend, and I just got invited to the president for his birthday party. And all of that stuff, that's your good side. You want to promote your best features, your kind features. But every one of us has what is called a shadow self. A shadow self are the things that we have that we're not so proud of. For instance, our shadow self might be the part that exhibits jealousy. Our shadow self might be the part that exhibits envy. Our shadow self is the part that sometimes enjoys, that is a very hard thing to say, but enjoys when somebody is making mistakes, especially when you told them that they should avoid that and they still entered it. Like husband and wife. Damn, I said it. I told you. Let him suffer it. Let him suffer it, please. After I was warning him since he didn't take me serious. So let him wear this. Let it pain him. You know, all of us have this side, right? Self-awareness is knowing when you have the two and knowing what to do with that information. Self-awareness and all this information helps us know what to do with our introverted nature. Oh, I'm an introvert. And when I'm an introvert, I find out that I'm more productive early in the mornings when I build myself. Hello, Rose. I see you today. Thank you for joining us. When I build myself today, I'm self-aware. So I know when a situation is harming my mental health. I know when a situation is beginning to make me doubt my assignment. I know when a situation is questioning my purpose, questioning my dream, questioning my ego. I know. And I know when it's harming me because I'm self-aware. I know when a certain behavior is masked as friendship, but it's not. I also know when a certain behavior appears like it's toxic, but it's not. It's a confused person screaming for help. I can tell when being around a certain person energizes me and when that person depletes me. I know when the routines I have set are harming or building me. I know when the habits I'm trying to develop are habits that I require or habits that I'm copying from someone else. Self-awareness is one of your most potent and powerful weapons. Knowing why you don't like what you like and owning it if your likeness is selfish. You know, there was a time I was ashamed that I was a bit of an ambitious person. For many years, I was embarrassed to want to be successful, like wildly successful. I used to just feel like I needed to hide how I felt. I wanted to, I had a lot to say, but I didn't want to be seen as show off. So I dumbed down. I'll keep quiet. And then my greatest fears now became, if people criticize me, I would feel like I wanted to die. And then if I said A and I was criticized, it would take me months to recover from that thing. I would just be thinking about what they said, how they laughed, how it's damning me, and how foolish I must be to actually think on and on. The moment I became self-aware, I recognized when I was placing myself in harm's way, when I was putting myself in situations that made me doubt myself, and when I had situations I needed to be around to energize me. I stopped insisting on being with the wrong crowd. I became more interested in being around people who were going the same direction that I wanted to go. I also stopped being ashamed for being, you know how they say, you can do sometimes, you can do oversabi. I stopped being ashamed of it because I knew that this my oversabi, there's a group of people out there who need my oversabi. And so if it's not for you, it's okay. Hello, hi, and bye. Let me be around the people that live me, that need me, that love me, that God has called me to. Self-awareness, very powerful. Very powerful. Very powerful. So you have to know thyself. You have to fix thyself. So when you know that you have a problem with jealousy, what triggers your jealousy? Do you want to know what it is so that you can fix it? If you know that you have a problem with laziness, you're not really a hardworking person, but you find yourself desiring what other people have, even though you haven't worked for it, what could be the reason for that? Do you want to go to maybe sit with a coach or a therapist to work things out, to resolve your on trauma issues? Are you traumatized by your upbringing? Let me give you a scenario. So, at the moment now, you consider yourself a decent, disciplined person. But many times the reason why we haven't seen some of your dark sides is because you don't have money to fuel that passion. So let me give you a perfect example. I used to know a couple, they're divorced now. It's not the best example, but it clearly articulates what I'm trying to say. So when they were, for a long time, they were poor. And when they were poor, they struggled to make ends meet. So they were very prayerful. They worked together all the time. They prayed together. They did a lot of things together. And of course, at some point, they broke through and things began to look up. The moment things began to look up, the husband became like a very undisciplined man with members of the opposite sex. And he wasn't discreet about his indiscipline. He began to flaunt it in his wife's face and began to parade it everywhere. And the more because they were trusting people, so the more counseling they had, the more he reacted. And so what happened was he didn't know that he had a weakness for beautiful women, for instance. And so when he had the means to now fund the lifestyle, he could now accommodate several beautiful women in his life, have them as staff, relate with them as business partners, and meet them as friends in hangouts and local bars. He began to acquire a very heavy taste for them. So sometimes being self-aware helps you know that, sometimes you know yourself, you know that you have that thing. You know that you have that weakness, but you have kind of like deceived yourself. That is not a thing. If you know that thing will bother you when you are big, go and fix it. If you know that thing will disturb you when you are rich, go and fix it. You might be a proud person, but pretending like you're a humble person right now. But I feel like everybody, except they don't admit this thing, everybody bringing, everybody coming Everybody coming up has some of these secret little shadow selves that they hide. They are proud and arrogant and look down on people, but it doesn't really show you because Pepe no day. Or you are among church people, you are in Nigeria and you go to church, you can't escape church, but now you are now in America, where nobody is looking at you and nobody is holding you accountable. Then last time we now know that you are cray. You've actually been admiring one kind of lifestyle like that is now you want to exhibit it. So the thing about self-awareness is that if you have a problem that you are aware of, try to fix it before you get to the top. You see, 2024 beckons and opportunities and success are coming. Sorry, just excuse me. Let me get something. Something dropped. Okay, so give me a minute to just change I want to switch to Wi-Fi. Okay, so I wanted to switch to Wi-Fi. Okay, I'm back. Everything went off. Comments, everything. Okay, so if you're here, can you see? Let me know if you can hear me. I had a slight glitch, which I've fixed now, and so we'll be rounding up in another few minutes. So okay, so I'd like to know that someone can see me currently. Hi, hi. Okay. Kosi, so hear me. Please let me know if you can hear me. Okay, so we're live and we'll just continue. All right, so it's important to know thyself and to be sorry about that couple, and of course things got out of hand. And that was because inherently Inim was not being aware that he had a weakness for XYZ, and he allowed it to disturb him. So sometimes if your pride will get in the way, when you become chairman of First Bank, when you become the first chairman of First Bank from your village, you want to deal with it now. Okay? You want to deal with anything that can interrupt. That's want to make sure that okay. So we're having slightly a few hitches right about now, but I want to try and see if we can make the time. If I can be done in chance, please leave them in the chat room below so that we can answer them as soon as possible. So you want to know possible things that can do for you your self-awareness. So let me help you on let me help you figure out what let me help you list a couple of things that being self-aware can do for you. Self-aware makes you aware of your vision, what you want to do with your life. It helps you become aware of your purpose. It helps to become aware of your footprint. It's like what you have been placed here on earth to do. Usually people know it. It's that thing that gives you like a very high level of fulfillment, and you feel connected to God and to humanity when you do those things, and you can do it for free. You can do it for free. That's some things I think I'll probably, this is under self-awareness, right? So self-awareness helps you be committed to the purpose that you feel you have been put here on earth for. It helps you look forward to things courageously. Aware that this is part of my life's work. Okay, I might be an architect doing Oh, we're having a bit of fun. So, to aware of what you ought to be doing. Self-awareness helps you deal with obstacles, because once, because I'm not afraid of it. If it were something I wasn't too confident about, that I wasn't aware of, that was part of my calling, I'd probably be slowed down by people's criticism. But now I don't shrink from it and courageous. You see, self helps me be, whether or not, it keeps me going, even when things aren't working well. Okay. So I want you to take time to become self-aware. I want you to take time to become self-aware, because self-awareness will it will keep you encouraged when things don't look encouraging around you. Self-awareness keeps you grounded. Self-awareness keeps you focused. Self-awareness keeps you guarded. Like, it helps you know when to be where and where to be, to be here and not to be here. Self-awareness keeps you focused. So many times when you're self-aware, you quickly recognize that you can easily be criticized for what you're doing. And many people have been criticized right out of their God-given purpose because of lack of self-awareness. Because of lack of self-awareness, people have been discouraged out of their calling. They have been laughed at until they stopped what they were doing and decided that this wasn't really what I wanted to do anymore, because they were not self-aware. Okay? So at the expense of your own goals, visions, and callings, you trade off your self-awareness for acceptance, for black tax, for uh, 10 minutes would do it to preserve you. After all, who you are and what you do is the footprint that you're going to leave here on earth. Okay? So make sure that you embrace self-awareness. And then finally, my 10th strategy for success in 2024 is rebranding, repositioning yourself as a powerful brand. Abigail had said something in the comments below that she has not been consistent with her brand, and that she seeks to now develop consistency so that she can be more visible. That's because in the world today, you are being judged as a brand, whether you know it or not. Decisions are being made about you every day, whether you like it or not. Whether or not you are consciously telling people what to think about you, you're telling them what to think about you. So instead of leaving it to chance, you might want to be a bit more intentional about branding yourself. What does branding yourself entail? Well, I would like to define personal branding as demonstrating your knowledge, experience, style, capacity in such a way that it demonstrates capacity. I use demonstrate now. Expressing yourself in such a way that it demonstrates capacity and it establishes your authority. So ultimately, if you want to grow a personal brand, you want to first create an awareness of who you are and what you do. And you want to use the opportunities, the platforms that you have, online space. You want to use the opportunities of offline space to develop yourself so that you can eventually attain authority status. It's at authority status that you can be paid for what you know. It's at authority status that you can be be celebrated for who you are. It's at authority status, not when you are still growing. So while you are great at what you do, you might be the only one who knows that. You want to build that brand, you want to develop it, you want to make sure that you are able to demonstrate capacity over a period of time to settle the matter that you are the go-to person in that field of interest. So here are a few things that would help you when you're talking of building your brand. You want to know exactly what you want to be known for. You want to be able to say, I want to be known as an expert in this area, and this area. And I want to be able to share information and knowledge in the expert as this area, and this area, so that my authority can be seen, recognized, and rewarded. And by rewarded, I mean that people start paying you money to even invite you to. I mean, people earn ₦1 million and above just for appearing in commercials, just for coming to speak for 20 minutes. Don't you want that to be you? 2024, here we come. We're going to develop our personal brand even more. We're going to make sure we prepare for the opportunities that we want. Is there anybody here who is feeling me right now? If you're feeling me, say something in the comments below. Let me know that you are catching on to this brand fire. Okay? This brand fire. So here are a couple of things you want to know when you're building your personal brand. You don't want to be entitled. Really. You just want to make sure what you are showing is recognized by those who value you. Nobody owes you to like you. Nobody cares what your message is. But when you position yourself as somebody who knows and has what they need, they begin to give you their attention, give you their trust, and give you their resources. Don't be entitled to it. Because the way the world works today, it can be taken from you at any point. So you want to make sure people know you, people like you, people trust you in such a way that your authority is recognized and rewarded. Is somebody feeling me there? 2024, you want to work on your personal brand. So this year, if you haven't really considered building your personal brand intentionally, you want to focus on your social media handles and what you put out there. I'm not saying you shouldn't say you are a loving person and that you love cats and that you like traveling and you like doing all those things are part of what make you you. Okay, but also tell us a bit about what you want us to know, especially the area that will make people want to pay you. Okay, don't leave that to chance. Strategically position yourself as an expert across different things, but allow us to at least know you very well for one thing. On my social media, I'm an architect. I haven't even positioned myself as an architect much because a lot of my clients don't need to see my social media to hire me to do their jobs, as I have a lot of stand jobs that people refer and the jobs are speaking for themselves. So on social media, I position myself as somebody who transited from just being an ordinary person who was an architect behind the scenes to becoming a leader of thought, especially as regards reinventing oneself. I have positioned myself as that, and I want to become an authority in that field across the world. The world is my oyster, and this message I have is the light of the world. And do I have people here who are siding, who wants this thing that I want? Do I have people like that who want this? Yes, that's great. That's great. That's great. So I hope that you'll be able to partner and grow together. Like it's always beautiful when you're in the company of those who are going in the same direction as you. This 2024, you want to maximize every opportunity that you get. I'm not saying you should take all, because not all will yield the same results, but you want to be able to identify which opportunities can give you the most results and take advantage of them. Okay. We have talked about relationships, and I mentioned a couple of things that you need to do during your relationships. Okay, we talked about relationships. You want to make sure that you manage your relationships intelligently and with emotional intelligence as well. Okay, position yourself to be a personal brand both on and offline, because my experience tells me that the bigger deals take place offline. So while you are popular online and your vanity metrics are high, you put a dot and you have 50,000 likes, you put a dot and people are just hailing you, oh, deep, we like you. You also want to position in such a way that people who can really pay you and reward you for what you want are able to contact you online and still be able to meet you offline. Okay, So building your personal brand will help you grow your influence. You have to carry yourself like where you are going. So if you're not yet there, it's fine. But you have to have a strategy to grow to where you want to be. How you are seen, how you are perceived, how you talk, how you speak, how you write. You have to get tools to help you enhance, to clean up yourself. Everything about you becomes desirable and your brand becomes an aspiration. People will say, you know that there are some brands and aspirations in the world today. People want to carry a certain kind of bag because even being seen with that brand is like an aspiration for some people. Even working with some customers will say, oh, I worked with this person. Tony Robbins is my coach. He used to talk to presidents. So me too, I work with him. Aspirational brand. So you too, you can become an aspirational brand. People will want to, want to be able to brag and say, I learned under this person's tutelage. This person put me through XYZ. So I've gotten the best teachings in the world. I want to become the top brand. And I'm saying this both for you and myself, okay? That we are trying to make sure that we are going somewhere in 2024 and we're not doing it carelessly. Okay. So if you want to penetrate the new economy, and by new economy, the way the world functions today, the rules are different. If you want to become global, if you want to become a voice heard and recognized across the world, there are many different things you need to do. I think I'll focus one of my videos on that one of these days, when we talk about what you really need to do to go global, to become an accepted global brand. But that's not for today. Okay. And then, of course, you want to learn how to develop the right presence. Have you guys had fun today? Have you guys had fun today? Is there anyone else who the comments? Yes, we want it too. Yeah, sorry, the network is breaking, Kadijat. So I hope someone said I should switch back to the chat, this thing I was using before. Yes. So if you want it, I want it. And so that's why I thought to share this point with you guys today. I hope that these 10 points have, how do they say it now? I hope I have convinced you and not confused you that we are made for greatness in 2024. It's not going to be without some work. It's not going to be without some intention. But 2024, that success is yours. And you can ride on it all the way to 2020, 20 whatever, 20x, 20 infinity. Okay, so if you've enjoyed this session, that's all I have for you today. I'd like to get your contributions. You've been contributing, so let me take a look at some of your comments and contributions. And then, of course, if you have any questions, we've been talking throughout the chat. So I've answered some questions, I've read some comments, we have discussed some things. So as we round up now, this has taken a bit longer than I hoped, but I hope that it made a lot of sense. Okay, so if you have any final contributions, any questions, put them out here and let us all learn together. Let's share together and let's try to make sure that our 2024 will be a glorious year. So, what are you guys saying to me? What part of today's lesson has benefited you the most? What part have you been able to resonate with the most? Which of the points, which of the strategies? I listed 10 strategies. So let me do a quick recap. I said the first strategy would be to give to Caesar what is Caesar's. The second strategy would be to develop a solver's mentality. The third strategy would be extract yourself from black tax this year. The next year as you're going. The fourth strategy would be to be strategic, set goals, and develop foresight. And in that, I talked about scenario planning. And then, of course, I talked about number 5. I talked about not apologizing for your ambition. Don't sabotage yourself. Number 6, I talked about networks and relationships, but I talked more about some of the things you can do that can hamper relationships. I didn't go into how to give your business card and all of those things because I think that information is already out there, but there are things within you that can hamper a good relationship, and that's what we shared under relationships and networks. Number 7, I talked about tracking your progress. Number 8, I talked about building capacity. I saw that the talk on building capacity resonated with a lot of people. And then number 7 and number 8, I talked about, number 9, I talked about know thyself, become self-aware and know thyself and fix thyself. Thank you so much, Kosi. Thank you for staying to the end. Sorry for that big break in transmission. We just had a little issue with one of the service devices, so we had to switch, and that switch just helped us gave a little bit of trouble. But if you have any contributions, please, I want you to say something. So we're recapping now. Number 9, I talked about self-mastery and self-awareness. I asked you to know yourself. I asked you to fix yourself. And then, of course, number 10, control the narrative. Reposition yourself as a personal brand. This year, the world will be waiting for you. You must have grown a bit more. And this growth can't be by accident. It has to be intentional. So control your narrative. Control your narrative and reposition yourself as a personal brand. So I thank you so much, Kosi, the Borderless Educators Tribe. Thank you for calling this an amazing session. Please, I'd like you to tell others about this community. We have been in existence for a bit, and we used to do things virtually for a while. And then we decided to take the virtual offline. We've had 2-3 live sessions in the last year, and we're going to be doing more of that next year. Our live sessions basically entail that we bring in people who have done well in their fields, and then we get them to share their deep stories of behind the scenes. We don't just want to see what makes you successful. We want to see what plays out behind the scene that makes you successful. So if you have gotten any value from this and you want to say something in the comments below, and let us promote you on the screen. Okay, let's promote you on the screen. That said, please subscribe to our channel. This channel is known as the Emerge and Dominate with Ochido Ayi. If you haven't yet subscribed, please subscribe to this channel. Okay, and then I just want to talk about one more thing. How many of you have done a personal retreat? I didn't talk much about retreats this time around. Okay, so I'm not going to really talk about retreat, but I authored a book known as The Personal Branding, The Ultimate Guide to Transformational Personal Retreat. That's what it looks like. You can find it on Amazon. You can find it on Seller. You can find it on Goodreads, and they are there for purchasing. Please go to any of them. Find it, The Ultimate Guide to Transformational Personal. And then, of course, if you want a hard copy, you can reach out to me, and I can get the hard copy across to you. Oh, great, great. Somebody is saying some top things. So if you need that book, or you know somebody who does it, who does need it, please do not hesitate to get in touch with us. Please do not forget to subscribe to our channel. We're going to be having some really great things next year. And I'm committing now, especially with the things I've said, the strategies I've given, to apply those strategies to our growth and the value that we share within the community. So Borderless Educators Tribe says her top tips are scenario planning, avoiding self-sabotage, networking and relationships, building capacity, and branding. Oh, that's great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I'm really looking forward to see how you are going to apply this in your educators tribe. I want to see how you apply this in your personal life. I want to see how you apply this in your overall growth. I want your stories. I want us to be able to say, come to our community. We want to do an in-live interview with you. We want other members of the community to glean from your knowledge, your experience, and your success. You know, we're about tracking progress here. I like to look for people that their progress is visible to all, you know, and then we ask them to tell us their stories and share with us what those stories are. Thank you so much, Borderless Tribe. Who else has something you want to say that you want to share with us so that we can be on the screen as we round out? Someone said, I love the 9 points the most. Know thyself. Thank you so much for this session. It was truly helpful. You are doing great stuff too. So perhaps you, one of these days, to a member of this community would like you to share what you know behind the scenes, how you've been able to pluck yourself out, because you've rebranded yourself quite a bit in Gupa, and it's beautiful to watch. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for committing and dedicating time to develop yourself for 2024. Thank you for your comments. So any other comments? Any other comments? I have enjoyed myself as well. I have enjoyed myself. Yeah, additional comments. Okay. So if that's it, we can call it a day right now. It has ended up being almost 3 hours. Wow. Kairat Haliru, you've been amazing. Oh, I love you too. Thank you for your kind words. Though the 10 points had some hiccups because the glitches in the network. Okay. So possibly when I watch the replay, I promise to do, so for you to know, If you're just joining this channel for the first time, my name is Ochido Ayi. I'm an architect and a personal branding strategist. So personal branding is one of the things I major in. I'm going to be talking a lot about personal branding in the course of the year. Personal branding and your money, personal branding and your life, personal branding and your image, personal branding and your business, so many things about personal branding. So just stay here. Just stay here. And you are going to learn a lot. So even if you got some glitches right there, I'm going to be expanding on that topic a lot more in the course of the year by God's grace. So don't just hang in there, okay? So thank you for even commenting on that, the 10th point. You were one of my coaches at some point. Thank you. That's great to know. That's great to know. Yeah. So I coach people, but at the moment, my cohort is not open yet. When it's open, I will let you know. At the moment, I'm not taking any cohorts right now. I'm working on some really big things that I want to give some time to, so that when that launches, it will be worth your while should you decide to take those courses. So, all the strategies were stellar, Kaya. Thank you, Kaya. I'm glad you found some value. Thank you for even being here. So please, the replay will be up. I'm not going to take it down, and I'd like you to go back. I probably think we'll probably edit it eventually. And we'll also edit it so that each of the strategies can have a shorter video where we can share on the group and share among people, and then people can come back to watching it as well. So that's probably what we'll do. Okay, so thank you very much. So I'd like to call it a day now. You can leave more comments if you have any questions. I'll be happy to take your questions. Let me see if there are any more. Stella, Esther, thank you so much, Pam. This has been by far the most educational end of year session I have listened to. Oh, oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you too, Esther. Thank you for your kind words. I hope that the sessions I've taught you would help. I hope that you find one or two that you can apply to your life directly and immediately. This is by far the most educational. Thank you very much. So I hope this helps you. If you think this will be beneficial for another person, please share the link with them. This is Facebook. This is YouTube. And here you can come back and watch the replay anytime. And I think we'll probably, like I just told the other person, we'll probably have it broken down point by point. Oh, it's your mom. Oh, great. How are you? It's been a while. Thank you for joining. Thank you for the enlightening session. Thank you. I hope you had time to catch the replay for the areas that you missed. And I hope that you'll be able to find some help in any of the points that were raised today. I wanted to be technical, but I just thought, no, let me speak from my heart and speak about the things that I've seen are challenges with the people I've coached. I've coached quite a lot of people, and I can see some recurrent things that we don't really talk about much. So I just thought, let me try and be as honest as I possibly can and practical. I know you know what you want to set goals for, and if you really need help with setting goals, I have a lot of goal setting information out there that I can put in the community that can help people. So don't forget to subscribe so I Emerge and Dominate. Just subscribe to the link and join, and let us interact more in the coming year. Thank you. Thank you very much. So that said, I'd like to call it a day. And I look forward to seeing your feedback. I'm sure there are many people in the community who join at different times. So I'm going to leave this on for people to join, and then I can ask for a general feedback. And please, I hope to get constructive feedback on how we can improve the content of this community. So if that's said, so let's call it a day. I'll see you on the other side. Happy New Year. Happy 2024. I hope that you are successful. I hope that you make it. I hope that this year is a lot better than last year. I hope that when you look back at the end of 2024, you see a quantum leap from where you were this year. I pray that you live and you enjoy the efforts that you are putting into developing yourself. And I hope that we get to meet along the way. Thank you so much for being here this evening. Thank you for being here this evening. And I'll see you on the other side. Happy New Year. I wish you a successful 2024. God bless and goodbye.